to run and jump and live so wildly. Head first we'll go tumbling through places unknown, with nothing but the stars to light our way. And though the sun may set at night, tomorrow looks so bright. 'Cause home is when you're by my side. No matter what we do, together we'll see it through. And I hope that we won't drift apart, even though things change. Without you, it's not the same. I know it's true. Life's better when it's me and you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the CCS Plat League Week 5. We have ID Eclipse against Gold. Accidentally muted my mic. Sorry. Um, it's myself, Redacted, with Elsa the Queen here tonight for this awesome game. Elsa, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, and I am excited to be here tonight for this match, which just has really big implications for the standings here in Group D of the Platinum Division. Obviously, you've got two hugely successful teams so far in the CCS here with Goldfish Gaming, returning as the champions last split, and then ID Eclipse having won the Thursday lock-in tournament as well, closing out the Wednesday and Thursday lock-in tournament for Iridescent Dawn as an organization. So as we go through the bands here, it's all going to start in this draft redacted, and we'll see what these teams have planned for tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. As we are already hot into bands here, and I wanted to make sure that there's not a bug on my screen, but it looks like it's like okay, yeah, it hasn't loaded yet. There it is. I was like, is ID Eclipse missing a band, but the GP just didn't load yet.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, Poppy and GP banned for ID with the Seraphine being hovered here next, and then Cassiopeia and Shyvana so far banned for Goldfish Gaming. So looks like both of these teams have definitely done some scouting and homework. That GP
Right.
not gonna be put in the hands of Matthew G there. So we'll see what ID Eclipse look to pick first here, as the Tarek was banned for Goldfish Gaming.
Yeah, and Goldfish opting to take away really comfort champions and pocket pick champions from ID Eclipse, not on the red side taking away any sort of OPs, which is kind of unusual just in the current meta, especially. And I was just gonna say Sivir, it got a nerf down, I believe, a little bit in the most recent patch. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but still very very strong 80 carry champion. They have first picked her in the past for Bub, so they're happy to do that. And I want to give you a chance to respond, Redacted, but that Draven coming out is just super exciting. And that was actually something else that I would have liked to talk about before the draft, which is we do have two Draven players here with Dirt 212 and Bubs in the 80 carry position. And obviously, Draven, just a very, very flippy champion, very strong in the early game, very strong single target damage, which is why people do it into champions like Sivir. That's a big reason it's back in the meta now. And we'll see what else, or what ID wants to do to ensure that they can lock that Draven down and CC him before he can get that single target damage off.
And speaking of CCing him down, what's a better way to get lots of CC across the rift than an Ornn pick for ID Eclipse here, who will be going into the top lane more than likely. I mean, we've seen a little bit of the Ornn jungle, but yeah, it's probably going top. And with the Wukong being hovered next, yep, and locked in, that will be confirmed. So Ornn top, Wukong jungle, Sivir in the bot lane so far currently. ID clips here. And yeah, oh wow, that was a fast lock-in, and we will be seeing Mr. Mossy's Talia, so that'll be pretty exciting. We know the terror this player can perform on this champion here, so I'm pretty excited
Yeah,
because it's
of
always a
course.
good show when Mossy gets his hands on Talia.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And, CCS fans will always remember Mossy pulling out the Talia before this champion even saw the buffs that sort of made it relevant as it is right now, in the clutch situations against Horizon, and just, taking matters into his own hands. Wasn't surprised to see
Game
them lock
three.
that one in. Yeah, right, exactly. I was not surprised to see him lock that one in so fast, just because this is also a contested pick in this draft. It's definitely a bit. Talia is definitely a big pick for XPKB in the mid lane for ID Eclipse, and he has picked that in CCS already. So both of these teams, it seems like, feeling really confident in their picks, just based on how quick these things are coming out, and getting a couple of additional bans there against BKB in the mid lane with three total if you count the Cassiopeia, and then also the Talia takeaway is four. So here for Goldfish Gaming, I would assume that Talia's jungle. Remember, it always can be a flex, but I would expect that we're going to see a support for Oreo Murderer here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you make a very great point. Kaiser definitely could play the mage as well, but it's more than likely gonna be in the hands of Mossy. Well, who knows? We might see Kaiser on his signature karma pick. We'll see how Goldfish want to play out their game one draft here, but Renata being locked in for Oreo Murder here, so I think that's a really great pick into the orange Silver Wukong, and now currently even the Blitz Crank here. But they will have to be a bit careful with those hooks that Blitz can pull. So, but I do like the Renata pick as they will lock in the Blitz Crank here for ID Eclipse. So and hovering the Ari, so they're still hovering dive champs despite the fact that Renata has been picked. Pretty interesting and pretty confident. No, go ahead. Yeah, I was gonna say.
I expect the Ari to be locked in. I think it is. It is sort of a dive champ, so it's competent in that regard, but does have a pretty safe laning phase. Not super afraid to lane against anything as as a really hard counter, especially when you can play sort of a safer style. And, we'll see what Kaiser has to say here, as the Pantheon being locked in does signal to me that this Talia is headed for the mid lane. Pantheon got a lot of buffs for the jungle. We've been seeing it come back to the jungle again and again recently. We saw it a couple of weeks ago. I cannot remember who it was that I saw play it, but a couple of weeks ago we did see it in CCS. This pick can just be so incredibly strong if you're able to make things happen in the early game. Its damage is just absolutely bonkers, and it starts to snowball really, really quickly from there.
Wow, I honestly did not. I mean, I've heard a little bit of the Pantheon buffs, but I did not expect Mossy to give someone else the Talia. So I hope Kaiser has the Star Guardian Talia skin because I know Mossy has it, and I really wanted to see it. But I guess I'll just settle for Pantheon jungle. But no, you make a very great point there, Elsa. Pantheon being a very strong pick. Presence now in the jungle. He has that lockdown CC with the E there, and then he'll just spear you to death. Semi-global with the Talia Weaver's Wall, the Pantheon ultimate there. And so there, I expect to see Mossy and Kaiser actually being pretty proactive once they unlock their level 6 ultimates.
Yeah, 100%. And I love that you bring that up, Redacted, because that's I didn't even kind of consider the global synergy that these two champions have. Talia obviously able to wall people off, ride that wall to get across the map, and then Pantheon able to go gap close a similar distance as well, which there's obviously not very many champions that can do that. But to back up a little bit too to the Renata Glass pick that was locked in here for Oreo Murder, I just did want to touch a little bit because normally we don't see Renata Glass as something that's blind picked, just because it does struggle into some mages and enchanter supports that just out damage her as far as sort of the poke and also the heal that they're able to provide. But with that being said, Wardbox has played exclusively, I believe, tank supports coming into CCS. He's played the Taric, which they banned away, Nautilus, and Blitzcrank. Traditionally, Renata Glass is thought of as a hard counter to Nautilus. So, Blitzcrank, kind of a similar thing. As you mentioned, they got to be afraid of those hooks. But on the other hand, she does have substantial disengage. And also, if you can manage to dodge the hooks, Blitzcrank is just kind of a sitting duck to continually get poked down by that Draven and Renata Glass over and over again.
Exactly, but if you don't dodge those Blitzcrank hooks, you are probably going to die because there will probably be a charm coming up next from XBKP, and then with the Silver Boomerang, Wukong Cyclone, the combo is pretty darn good here from the side of ID Eclipse. So I'm pretty I'll keep my eyes on how they play out this composition. I do actually like both teams' compositions overall. There's good ways to engage as well as disengage. So it's not just a what's the word I'm looking for? A one style play for their compositions, So that's pretty good, and it's good that they have different ways that they can start a team fight or play offense and defense essentially on the Rift here.
Yeah, and it looks like we might have a little bit of a situation with possibly an E-sub or something like that coming in. I'm not exactly sure. We are waiting on that a little bit. As we are waiting on that, though, I did want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Pro Comps, and I did want to just talk a little bit about we have a little bit of extra time. It's actually a blessing. Let me just shoot this over to my good old producer, and maybe he can get it on the screen, because I just wanted to share with y'all the Pro Comps pre-game guide, which is an awesome feature that I have used to crush it in my games recently. And you're just able to, put in your nifty, either your account, or like in this case, I put the draft all just, right in there, really, really easy. And then you're able to see this feature after the draft is over. And it gives you tips about how you can best utilize your team comp, which is actually useful in competitive play, like in the CCS, because you can actually talk to your teammates, not like solo queue. And so that is, just something that's really, really useful. There's actually a couple of parts of it too. There's, a part that gives you some tactics that you can use in the game, and it also has some, information about the lanes and skirmishing as well. So, Redacted, did you want to hear it all about the some of the game style tactics while we're waiting still?
Yeah, tell me, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess basically I'll admit, Redacted, I'm a little conflicted about sharing these on stream because, I'm afraid ProComps are just going to take my job, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be employed anymore, but if just anybody could read these out. But so, for ID Eclipse, it says that their comp is focused on pick and engage. I agree. Just like we were talking about, very dive oriented. It says you need to focus on the enemy split pushers and shut them down early. Every kill matters, so don't hesitate on using your summoner spells. And it also says by baiting the enemy team, you can fight in your favor. So definitely encouraging, kind of a style of play where ID Eclipse is able to catch members of Goldfish out. And I know warding is going to be really critical to that as well. So what are your thoughts, Redacted?
On their draft or what ProComp said?
Both, either, or I can just move on to the Goldfish team comp.
I mean, they.
All right, I'm just going on to the next one because it's too interesting to miss it. So, for Goldfish, sorry, I cut you off. My bad. For Goldfish, it says we got split and engage as well. So definitely split push and that engage as well with the long range ultimates from Pantheon and Talia. It says the enemy team might try to hide their other champions around split pushers. Be careful while going for picks. And it also says be aware that if you use more than enough members to pick enemy team split pushers, the other players of the enemy can easily take objectives from the other lanes. So kind of anticipating maybe a little bit of a split push from the other team. No, this is how. I'm sorry. I didn't flip it to the other way. So this is actually how ID Eclipse should deal with Goldfish, which totally makes sense. So kind of advocating for a style where they're just making sure that they're not over committing to dealing with those split pushers. And we do know that split push can be a difficult thing to deal with in low elo.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a difficult thing to deal with and a difficult thing to actually implement well because, you have to make sure that it's really hard to synergize the waves sometimes with a lot of lower elo teams. You'll see your top laner either ahead or the other members of your team ahead in mid lane, and then your top laner still trying to catch up and push those waves. So you really have to try and be patient and ensure that you are in sync with your split pusher, so that way when you're both trying to siege, you force the team to have to make a decision. Do we go deal with the split pusher and send like 2 to 3 of our members, depending on how strong they are, or do we choose to take the 4v or 4v5 or whatever the matchup is, and then deal with the consequences later? So it's a very it's a easy concept in thought, but hard in execution.
It's true, and thank you so much to Ludi for getting that up on the screen. By the way, it looks great how you put it on there. So shout out to our wonderful producer. I thought maybe we could take a moment too. It looks like we do have. It looks like I'm not sure if they're both e-subs, but we have 2 subs at the very least coming in here from ID Eclipse. We got Blingo DX, who it looks like is on the roster. So let's check that out, and then we also have Zalp, who is coming in on the relief as well. So definitely going to kind of change this game for sure a little bit to have those e-subs. Redacted, I don't know if you saw, but before the game, I had asked some questions to ID Eclipse just about kind of the history of this team. And it, while they said this year, was when they formed, and they all sort of, for the most part, formed together. But with that being said, specifically Bubs and Wardbox in the bot lane, Bubs had mentioned that they had over 700 games played between the two of them. So that is, pretty impressive with that synergy. So with Zalp coming in instead, that's definitely gonna kind of change the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we said Zalp is an e-sub now for ID Eclipse.
I believe that's true. I believe
did
that's
I
the
hear
player
that
that they were
correctly?
getting approved by the admins. They were in communication with our admin staff. So appreciate ID for going through the appropriate channels for these things.
How does that change draft though? Because I know with
I believe they
e-subs,
waived the e-sub
is
bans
there...
potentially. I think maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I think maybe
I'm about to pull
potentially
up the rule
also
book
we
load too.
planned on Bubs being here. Not really sure. I don't think you're technically supposed to waive e-sub bans, so not really sure. But that's we're casting it. So but we have gotten into the client draft here,
Exactly.
just to pick up the what I'm talking about a
Oh,
little
thank
bit
God.
more, and looking at also looking at this top lane matchup. I was very, very excited for that, and it is going to be a little bit different. We anticipated that it would be Eddie Boy, I believe, in the top lane against Matt G, and I was a little bit surprised to see the Gangplank banned against Goldfish. Now we know that Matt G is a big Gangplank player. Everybody knows that. If Matt G has a million fans, or if he has no fans, then he plays GP, whatever, and so on and so on. But I would have expected either a GP main to either be confident, first rotation that or second rotationing that, or playing against it. So it makes sense that they do have the sub coming in the top lane. My bad for not taking that into account. But Gnar coming in instead. I don't know that we've seen him play Gnar so far this split. I could be wrong about that. I apologize if I am. But Gnar definitely really, really strong right now. It's a staple in pro play and has been for a really long time for a reason. But now, with that being said, it is a champion that requires the team to coordinate around the timings of the Mega Gnar. So that requires communication. With that being said, again, Talia also is a huge crutch for Gnar, just able to make that wall pop up right in front of him, giving him a lot more options to use the
Oh my God. Yes.
self-named Gnar into the wall. So that combination is really, really powerful. So like you said, Redakted, when we talk about Kaiser and Mossy coordinating their ultimates at that level 6, talk about coordinating that as well with the Gnar. And I think that they will probably look for plays top lane around the Rift Herald, around that first Rift Herald, once they hit that level 6 mark. Try to get that one and get some additional early turret plating.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Matt G's champion history right now to see how many games of Gnar does he have. Because I don't think I've ever seen... Okay, so 7 wins, 5 losses, 58% win rate. So not too bad. That'll be pretty interesting. Because for any of our viewers at home who may not know, Matt G was a mid lane main who made the swap to top lane. So still a solo lane, but obviously different champion pool that you have to build up and utilize. So, and I would say a little bit of a different mentality, top lane is more so known for its not calm, but somewhat ignored or just left on an island play style unless you play certain champions that want to be carriers or split pushers, and then they may get that jungle attention. So we'll definitely see how Matt G and Mossy coordinate and utilize this Talia and Gnar combo, or if Matt G is going to play a bit more of the weak side, as Goldfish are known for typically to do with their top laners, and we see them more so play across the map, especially with Draven, dirt on Draven and whatnot.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think I was reflecting as you're talking, Redakted, about talking about their making plays on the top side at that level 6. At the same time, you also drafted this Draven Renata Gloss, taking that range support into the melee, as well as the Draven. You are putting a lot of your eggs in the bot lane matchup. As far as if Sivir isn't able to get ahead in the early game, if she's just farming through, that's fine. She can definitely manage that. She scales very well. On the other hand, if Draven isn't able to do anything early, it becomes very rough for him. He is, he doesn't he doesn't have a power spike really later in the game. If you're not able to cash in on those stacks sometime within, usually the first 10 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see where the priority lies there. And I think Goldfish has had a bit of an identity crisis so far this split, not looking quite as good as they did last. Partially because of that, because they have this strong top laner in Matt G who's able to play these carry champions that they weren't able to draft last split with Peanut, and now with the ability to do so, it's difficult when you're also trying to play around the bot lane as well. So we'll just have to see, but I did have to want to give one more shout out about Pro Comps because they are our wonderful sponsor. And if you liked what you saw as far as the tools that we showed off today with the pregame guide, talking about the strengths of these teams, talking about how you can win your games, if that's something that interests you, go ahead and check it out. Download Pro Comps for free. And then if you want to try out the premium version, which will get you all of those fun, bells and whistles that we show you here on stream, you are going to want to use the code CCS. Hold on, I'll say it again because you probably didn't have your pen yet. CCS, and the it's like this league if you didn't notice. And you'll get 50% off the first 3 months of your Pro Comps subscription. Goldfish Gaming, subscribed to Pro Comps. Goldfish Gaming, 1 CCS. Coincidence? You tell me. But we are going to go to a little bit of a spectator delay, pretty short, as you can see the countdown, but we will be back in just a moment for Goldfish Gaming against ID Eclipse. Don't go anywhere, because we'll be here still.
Everybody panic! Hold on! I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser, always ready to cry. Da-da-da-da. Aw, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
Welcome back, everyone, as we are here live for Game 1 of ID Eclipse against Goldfish Gaming, and there is a 5-champ stack we see, but there's already a ward in that river bush there, so Goldfish will be aware of the Eclipse shenanigans, and they'll know that they've placed the ward on their blue buff there. Elsa, my question that I always ask my color casters, any weird summoner spells or runes that you see that you may want to comment on?
Just taking a cursory glance here. No, actually not at all. Although one thing I will say is Blingo DX did take the grasp of the Undying, on Ornn. Redakted, you may or may not know that I'm a top lane main right now and forever for the rest of my life.
I did not know that, actually.
I've decided that that's my new position, for life. But anyways, so, I have played a lot of Ornn. I've also played a decent amount of Gnar. Anyways, I just think this is kind of a poor choice for Ornn just because he's not going to be able to proc that grasp of the Undying very often on Gnar because he's mostly going to be in that mini Gnar form, just, you know, knocking away with that poke. And even when he is in the Mega Gnar form, like, that's not going to be like these long auto attack trades that are kind of necessary to get grasp off in a fight. As we see some heavy trading here in the bot lane, which is what Draven wants in general, but not gonna get too much done. But anyways, so I think, you know, that's one that I would criticize. It's not like the end of the world. It's just you can take Unsealed Spellbook instead, and just get a lot more utility out of those summoner spells. But, you know, we talked about to Redakted these, you know, where Mossy's focus will lie in the jungle, and it does look like he did start, you know, over on his red there, you know, possibly a full clear of at least that red side with taking the Raptors as well. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see where he passes. But look at that. Look at on the screen. Look at your skin. It's what you wanted.
It is! Yes! Star Guardian Talia. Oh, I love it.
Shout out to me for messaging in the chat and telling whoever is going to play Talia should play or should do the Star Guardian skin for Redakted. So there you go, buddy.
Exactly. Thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, no, I definitely want to agree with you as we see both junglers they started on the top side of the rift here, and they are both pathing towards the bot lane. So I think we know what the focus is for both junglers, and I think we know where we're gonna expect some violence eventually, as we do see Matt G and Blingo DX just trading back and forth here in the top lane. So, oh yeah, here's Mossy already stalking in that bush. The ward has just timed out, so ID Eclipse will not know if Mossy walks into that second bush there, but Rejected anew is here as well in the tri-bush looking to path around. Let's keep our eye on what bot lane shenanigans may erupt here. Wukong down the river, pathing behind as Oreo murder and Dirt. The flash forward from Mossy though. Spear as well. Rejected anew will have to flash away. The Ignite is taking him down. Spear and First Blood given over to Mossy. Pantheon on the board.
Yeah, Mossy does end up making it happen. He makes it work with the First Blood, but I am very suspect of the target selection by Mossy in that particular engagement. Goes onto the Sivir, and of course the priority, you know, is on killing the damage dealing AD carry. As close hook there from Wardbox, but you know, Wardbox on this Blitzcrank already very low, pretty vulnerable. I think that could have locked up a kill a lot faster, or even going on to the Wukong, but.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, at that point, I'm sure they wanted to kill Zout, but, you know, when the jungler is here already, you just go for probably the champion that's nearest. As Rejected anew just punishes Mossy there. He probably should have backed. I don't know why he was there with that amount of health.
Yeah, I mean, running through it, he jumped onto BKB to try to make that gank happen, but BKB not even needing to expend summoner spell or anything like that to stay alive. So that's a pretty big. I mean, it's pretty decent L for Mossy. Just, you know, dying when he does have that early lead. Obviously, hadn't been able to cash in on it yet, so it didn't factor in there. But all in all, you know, gets him back to base, and it's not going to be that big of a deal. Still has the majority of his, or a lot of his jungle to clear out. You'll notice that he actually never ended up taking his blue buff. So that still is waiting for him on the other side of the map. which is, you know, kind of interesting just because it's going to be a long time until he gets his next one. But he's feeling okay with that. I guess probably just mostly because it would screw up his pathing to go top first.
Yeah, I think it would, as we for sure. Yeah, I think it would for sure, because at this point now, but you know what? That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make, actually, or at least comment on, is Pantheon, as we know, is more of an early game to mid game champ. So Mossy definitely wants to try and clear as much of his camps and get as much gold on this champion as soon as possible, because once we get into the mid late game, he's not going to be as effective. I mean, sure, he still has the stuns, he still has the damage, but it will not be that carry potential that Dirt will come later in the game, or even Kaiser as well on this Talia. So if Mossy wants to make this champion really effective, he needs to make sure he tries to get as much gold as quickly as possible onto his champion without giving gold over to the enemy team.
Yeah, and I was actually just checking in, you know, Mossy pathing towards this side does signal that, you know, he would eventually want to try to make something happen or be able to answer once again, rejected anew like he was able to do the first time. But now the key is really getting the kill onto Dirt on this Draven. Did have, last time I checked in, he's had 118 adoration stacks. I can check again, looks like now he's got 119. Okay. Yep. So definitely getting to that point where that is a good amount. It would make a huge difference if he's able to cash that one in and pick up a kill for this Draven, who is sitting up a couple of CS, I believe, once all said and done with this wave. Was a little bit up earlier, but not enough to sort of make the difference that you need Draven to make if you're going to justify picking it over basically any other scaling option at the AD position.
Yeah, and I know it's really early still, but I do want to comment on the gold lead that Goldfish have built up for themselves. This is without even the Draven stack being cashed in yet, and with just the one kill from both sides, right? And I mean, just Matt G, I'm not gonna lie, I'm shocked. This is my first time seeing him play this split, because I haven't casted much, and he's doing pretty good as a top laner, or at least against Blingo DX. I don't know how he fared against the rest of the top laners in this group, but he's doing pretty decently right now. And as we just look at the gold across the rest of the rift here, Goldfish have built themselves up quite a bit of a gold lead just through CSing.
Yeah, I mean, Matt G is definitely ahead in CS. You know, you can see he's about a wave ahead, maybe a little bit more. But Ornn really just, like, Ornn's goal against a champion like Gnar is really just to, and really against any champion, is to get through the lane phase so he can get to the team fight phase when you can, you know, use your ultimate to start those engages from so far away. And then also once you get to level 12, you start being able to upgrade those ornaments on your team and, you know, give that additional scaling element. So, you know, I agree, Matt G definitely having a good lane so far, but it's one that if he was not ahead in CS, I would say he's losing this lane functionally. And when we actually look at, you know, what it amounts to in gold, it's, you know, it's less than it's literally 20 gold. I mean, once he clears this wave, it's going to be like 100. But bot lane.
Yeah, bot lane just saying hi, Dirt being a little aggressive there, but Kaiser is here. There is no ward in that tri-bush. Weaver's wall is active. And ID Eclipse bot lane has been pushed forward. There goes the Weaver wall right now. Flash forward. Oh, the hook does land. Pantheon's coming in. Kaiser flashes out. The seismic shove does go wide. Kaiser's going to burn down, though. Kill given over to Zaup. One for the Sivir on the board now. Will there be more action, though, as we do see BKB is here looking for it. Spirit Rush has not been used just yet. Nothing further will come about.
Yeah, and just very unfortunate there for Kaiser to get hooked under the turret. Nice hook by Wardbox as well to give him credit. And Zaup just still having access to the flash. Still having access to the flash there, and another hook. Oreo Murderer.
Hook lands again, but the Ringana Glass with the hostile takeover. Draken ultimate as well. And that will be... I thought Dirt had more damage to try and take somebody down. The answer is no.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to limp away again. They will have to use the heal, you know, so now no summoner spells at all in the Sivir. This is going to prompt a Dragon Start from Goldfish, but it doesn't look like ID Eclipse is ready to give this one up.
Oh no, Cyclone coming out as Mossy will flash away. Flash wells from Rejected and New. The Cyclone has bursted. 2 of the Goldfish members down. Draven will lose those stacks as BKB takes the Draven down. Mossy and Kaiser looking to get something back in retribution. They're playing ping pong with this Sivir. Zalp is down as well, but Goldfish are still going to be wiped as there are too many Eclipse members in the side of the Dragon Rift here. And
Matt G's about to get soloed top.
Is he really? As Kaiser is?
I mean,
Kaiser
no, maybe not. He solo killed
him. He's down. He will get the solo kill.
Shout out to Matt G, bro. Damn, why, dude? Spectator saw Matt G's mac and cheese, and that's why it wouldn't let us. He's being punished.
It doesn't want to give him the respect he deserves just yet. He has to earn it.
Oh wow, yeah. So overall though, I'm very excited about that Matt G solo killing Ornn, but it's actually very bad for Goldfish, I would say, in total. The dragon doesn't actually end up going down at all, and actually it is still Goldfish retaining 100 gold lead at the end of the day. So maybe I'm wrong, but definitely a lot of action there, and it is absolutely super unfortunate for Dirt losing.
How many
those
stacks does
adoration
Draven have
stats.
now? Yeah.
Adoration stacks. Yeah, so now he's at 67. So, he's still, you still maintain some of them. You maintain half of them. Or you maintain 25% of them, rather, my bad. But, obviously a lot less gold when he does eventually pick up a kill. And we are getting to that point where, he hasn't been able to do that yet. Still hasn't picked up a full item, just kind of sitting on these components. So, we'll see what he does opt to, go for first. But now, for Matt G, though, now he is maybe able to accelerate this lead in the top lane a little bit more, especially as you start to get those points in the W.
Ooh, Grand Starfall as the rocket grab goes wide. Wardbox was stunned up by Pantheon and shoved backwards. Wardbox goes down, kill given over to Mossy. Should have gave it to Dirt.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's hard in those situations because you don't want to, not get the kill at all. Both top laners are holding on to their teleports here, so both of them are also capable of interrupting. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Matt G using his ultimate there kind of signals to me that he's unlikely to TP for this. But pretty short cooldown, yeah. And Blingo is going to be really poked out. They will end up giving the dragon over to Goldfish, so Goldfish does pick that up. Meanwhile, more going on bot. I'm doing your job, Redacted. My bad.
Oh no, you're fine. Not much action's going on just yet, so don't worry. You're doing good. You're doing good. Plus, I know you got it.
Herald charges. Herald charges.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, for sure.
PvP energy for sure. Yeah, and both of these teams are super aggressive as far as kind of looking around at these fights, but not necessarily being.
They have to be
committal.
careful though.
Yep.
Yeah, they have to be careful. Wardbox did use his rocket grab. Actually, Mossy will stun Wardbox here, but the clone actually does miss as the hostile takeover and the rest of Kaiser is grabbed and Kaiser will go down. Get a bit too aggressive there. Another kill given over to ID Eclipse, but Goldfish still actually has a 1,000 gold lead. But that could quickly turn out of their favor if they're not too careful with their aggressiveness here.
Yeah, and I mean, the story for ID Eclipse here is just that Wardbox is Kaiser's father, hooking him down under the turret in the bot lane multiple times, just saying, "You back in my lane again? You don't learn? You go learn today." And that's what he said. And he hooked him again. But I mean, yeah, if I'm Kaiser, probably not going back there again. And, it still is difficult, right? Because I think that, Goldfish is not just playing around the bot lane out of, wanting to do that. And, they do have the setup with the Renata Gloss, but, you would really like to, if you're Mossy, try to get up into this top lane if Matt G can poke out this Ornn again, maybe try to get some kind of dive off, try to get some kind of first turret situation going on, because, with the Rift Herald here having been dropped, and no first turret falling, that is still on the table for Goldfish, so it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if Goldfish can afford to leave Dirt, on an island like they're known for doing this game.
Checked it in news, Cyclone in the clone, seismic shove to knock the Wukong forward, and directed cam will troll us as nothing else comes of that fight here.
Yeah, and there you go. Like I said, this poke coming through from Matt G with the hyper stacks or hyper procs, which start to chip away at the health. Really, really good against those tanks. This is why Nara is considered to be such a good pick in general. So they are going to at least take advantage of that map control here. But now you can look at Dirt over there in the bot lane. Is going to be alone here as the wave pushes in, and it looks like XBKB might be thinking about heading down as well. So this Draven could just be could be a sitting duck.
Dirt is definitely on the menu, and he
Oh,
should have backed up much sooner. We'll have to flash away. Dodgers the charm. BK losing the Spirit Rush there, and Dirt's gonna go down, loses those stacks once again. But Mossy is here in the top lane. Blingo will have to flash away. Kaiser Uwe was there to assist for the backup. Kaiser still looking for the kill though, as the Ornn is trying to recall. They see the ping. Gnar, Talia, and Pantheon stare or down under a tower. Will the tank assassin ADC carry Mage be able to get out of this one? The answer is no. Matt G with another kill, 2-0-0 on this Yordle. Is that bias there? Is that bias for my color cast there?
No, definitely not. No, that's just the Matt G. That's anyway. Moving on. No need to talk about that. But yeah, no, I mean, Goldfish, they did it. They probably got me pumped to their comms, honestly, of course, listening to my advice about playing around Matt G here in this state of the game. And I will criticize there from Dirt, with the turret that low, continuing to be there in the bot lane to begin with is just not a good idea. But on the other hand, I will say, I can sympathize with the fact that he really feels like he can't just stand out of XP range because he's already falling behind in that regard. Can't continue to do so as Draven, otherwise he's just going to be utterly useless. And he didn't know from where Ahri was flanking, could have been further behind. So tough game for Dirt so far, and we'll see if that comes back to bite Goldfish as a Wardbot. Whoops.
I mean, Workbox used his Q, Mozzie used his R. So, two abilities both used. One's cooldown is shorter than the others, as we will prepare for another fight here. This Mountain Drake. Oh, but they're going to look for Ahri first. TP coming out from Blingo. This Ahri is pretty low. The Ornn Horn has been used. Are they going to try and take down the Ornn first before this Drake comes up? And the answer looks like to be yes. Hostile takeover as well to dissuade them from engaging any further. They already have two members down. Ornn goes down. Ahri's probably going to have to back up, and this Mountain Drake should go over to Goldfish Gaming, as we are now in a pause, of course. What are we talking about now?
Yeah, it looks like, Dirt disconnected, and they were very careful. Shout out to Goldfish Gaming for being very careful to not pause until after the fighting had ceased. So, very good rule following by them there.
Seems like they have prior experience with that.
No, they don't.
Not this version.
This team does not. I was afraid for a second. Dirt. I mean, first of all, whenever you see that Draven portrait and then you see the disconnect thing, you just get that sinking feeling in your stomach, and also, all the drama that's been going on with Goldfish. I mean, I don't know if everyone's been following it, but I mean, I can read the statement. I mean, they're playing tonight, but officially, as of tonight, Matt G, Dirt, and Oreo Murderer are, not going to be playing for Goldfish anymore due to some, instability within the team. And I can read a statement here as I enter my Twitter, of course. See how what's going on here. Hopefully, Dirt can get reconnected if I'm actually being serious, because would be unfortunate. Although I would say if I was Goldfish and I had to pick one person to not continue playing in this particular game, of course not as a whole. Of course, I would pick Dirt out of any one of them. But in this particular game, Draven is probably the weakest champion, to be honest. Even Renata, less gold, of course, but a little bit more utility. Anyways, so Dirt did say earlier today he
Mickey Mouse producer, bro. Do you see what our Mickey Mouse producer, the OG Mickey Mouse producer, has on the stream right now? Why are you looking up that tweet?
I gotta open up the stream. I should be paying attention to that as the admin of this production department.
Your Mickey Mouse producer is back in full effect.
All right, let's. Great.
But back
And I
to the
can't even get my Twitch show. Okay. We got a reconnection going on.
okay, thank God. I think they almost used like all of their pause time too. Hopefully they don't have any more.
They have 10
during
minutes
this
of
game.
pause time.
Correct. Oh, because yeah, there was a pause earlier too. Never mind.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
trolling. But you guys didn't see that on stream. So what's that tweet say there though, Elsa? I'm
Oh,
curious to
yes, I
know
got
about
that.
the
My bad.
Goldfish drama.
No, you're good. Let's see here. It says formally stepping from Dirt 212, aka at Karth Demon on Twitter. He said formally stepping down as the Goldfish esports ADC. Tired of arguing in draft. Tired of the poor attitude and yelling in game. Tired of people not caring. Tired of the bullshit. And excuse my language to my CCS, family oriented CCS viewers out there, but a strong statement. And I can read another statement as well, very unique statement also
Absolutely.
coming out from Matt G, who did announce as well earlier today that he was also formally stepping down as the Goldfish esports top laner. He is tired of arguing in draft, tired of the poor attitude and yelling in game, tired of people not caring, tired of the bullshit. Again, excuse my language. But just as with those statements, I don't know how that's affecting, this team's mental, and it looks like we are going to get back into the game. As it says, play is going to resume, but that seems to be a lie.
Oh, so while we're still waiting in the pause, then I know you did some investigative journalism into
Sure.
Iridescent Dawn Eclipse here. So what notes do you got on that team? Because I mean, I know about Gold Gaming now, but we have a lot of new teams in the CCS, so let's give them some light too.
Yeah, definitely. So, like Redakted said, I did ask some questions.
Actually, we're back in the game.
Sort of the formation of this
Sorry.
team, and until we get some action as Goldfish just kind of burns down this dragon, this is a fairly recent team within the last year, as far as playing together, but they have spent a lot of time playing together. As I said, had mentioned earlier, they're a team that has been super successful, haven't lost a match yet in CCS, but they're being threatened by Goldfish here as finally gets away. Notably, they did reschedule against ROTM, so they still have yet to play. I think they play that tomorrow, actually. So they're going to be playing that one tomorrow night. So they're 3-0, even though we're in week 5. Goldfish is at 3-1.
Right.
So, losing for Goldfish here would pretty much guarantee that they're going to be sitting below ID Eclipse in the standings at the end of the split. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely that they're going to end up higher than them. So that's why this is such a critical series for Goldfish Gaming, who have really struggled out of the gate, which is unexpected. Like we've talked a lot about, switching to Matt G. We haven't talked quite as much about
struggled. They're 3-1.
Yeah, well, I think that they have struggled in comparison to what we saw from them last bit. So I think you're right. To be fair, from the standpoint of most teams, they're not struggling, but I guess based on sort of the expectations that we had for this organization, just because of their success, and I think because they kept many of their strong players and added more.
True, as the Cyclone from Rejected anew has been launched, but Kaiser Uwu will just shove him away, and that will be all that comes from that engage. And the blue buff over to the ID Eclipse jungler. We see Matt G and the Ari meeting in the mid bot lane there, as not much action. I thought we were getting more action. We didn't, Elsa, so I'm gonna let you continue your ID Eclipse your ID Eclipse report.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess the other big part of what we got out of actually primarily Bubs, but also Wardbox. Bubs not playing in this first game, is that this is a team that's just very confident in their ability. They really do feel like they're the best team in this group. They feel like they're the best team in this league. And frankly, they just did not seem very worried about Goldfish. They said they didn't prepare any differently this week at all. They're just doing their thing, and they're just confident that will win them these games. And, even with 2 subs coming in, looking at this draft Redakted, it is very similar to what they have put together in their other 3 series with their full roster. So, they have managed to maintain some consistency there, even though Goldfish did ban out some comfort picks from some of these players. So, sitting at 21 minutes, pretty even in gold, just a little less than a 1K lead, as we have transitioned the side lanes a little bit here. With Matt G going into the bot lane, trying to get that additional split push down there, better matchup against BD than Kaiser, who can just, kind of get run down on this Talia. So nice swap of the lanes, but thinking a little bit about the scaling here, I do really favor ID Eclipse. Eclipse's scaling overall, just because, with the Ornn, with the Sivir, set up these team fights as Moss is going to use his ult to just guarantee that turret goes down. These are just some sort of very pretty guaranteed team fight tools from Iridescent Dawn, and the Ornn item upgrades also. And Matt G might find himself in trouble. Mossy's sticking around.
Yeah.
Both of these teams, they just seem very hesitant. I guess is the word that I would use. They're very...
Quick interruption. Did you know the Dragon Rift does that? The Inferno Rift? I've never seen it pulse. I didn't know it does that.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I never paid attention to that. All right, back to your point, though. Sorry.
No, you're totally good. I don't even remember what my point that I was making was.
Oh,
but,
I'm sorry.
No, you're totally good. No, you're totally fine. But we do wanted one notable scaling advantage as well. As you talk about the Rift being the Infernal Rift this time, is that we do have the Dragon that is going to come up here soon, and Goldfish has stacked 2 already. So for ID, this is going to be important to contest this here in 30 seconds. I always love to see how teams play these situations out, because for Goldfish, you can choose to either go for this Dragon, which would put you on soul point, which is obviously very important, but giving up Dragon 1 to ID here wouldn't be that big of a deal, so they could try to go for something cross-map as well, but
Wardbox is looking. He's holding that, and he's found Mossy as well as Smith. Their hostile takeover, though, does connect, as the Cyclone and the rest of Goldfish are currently kiting out most of the ID Eclipse memory, but Dirt already goes down. Talia is going to be next. Actually, is going to be next, as Oreo Murder is the only person left alive, and ID Eclipse damn near ace Goldfish Gaming as they now split, sending Wukong to get the Mount Inferno Drake here, and they will start on this variant.
And there's simple mistakes here from Goldfish that just make that fight impossible from the very, very beginning. Mossy has the flash available. We can see it expends it later, but too late. Getting hooked up by Wardbox. Should have just flashed away. Probably would have been able to keep himself safe, at least in the short term. But once Mossy is picked off at the beginning, that is, their single target engage blown.
Ooh,
they don't have the Meganar available.
Zao barely goes down. Mossy will probably have to give over his life, though, for this bear. TB coming in from Matt G. Dirt is on his way. Royal Murder is still here as well. Are they going to look for more? The answer is yes. Kaiser Uwu uses the Weaver Wall. He wants to take down this Ari. The charm does connect. Rejected Anu is now here on the back line, though, as Goldfish Gaming will chase the Wukong away. They're looking for it, though. Man, they're looking for it. He kills Oreo Murder, though, as Dirt is now going to axe this Wunky down, and the shutdown gold will finally be given over to the Draven. 1, 3, and 3. They finally got some money in this Draven's pockets, and they have the Baron.
And I will never talk bad about Mossy ever again. I promise. I'm so sorry. Because
I'm not.
He just clapped me back immediately, though. Amazing steal. Amazing heads-up play, after having sort of a disheartening team fight like that, to just be, have the mental steel, say, we're going to come back right now, we can still contest, we can make a play here, and, while that is still a lot of gold over to ID from the initial engagement, they are able to. Goldfish will be able to stem the bleeding so heavily,
And they're back in
by
the
not
gold
giving
lead
up
actually
Baron.
too. I mean, it's not much, but
Yeah. And one thing that Matt G.
What's Matt G doing as he's hooked by Wardbox there?
Meganar coming up.
He's here to back him up. Hostile takeover connects. Wardbox now attacking his own team. Meganarm is almost there. The health, the plus. Matt G has taken out Wardbox. Blingo will be next. Kaiser Uwu on the retreat though, as BKP was looking to take down this Star Guardian there, will not be able to do so, as now Goldfish Gaming look to take down this mid lane tier 1 turret.
Goldfish going to be marching it down the mid lane after that one. Nice play. Just a bait by Matt G. Clearly, he saw it the whole way through. Getting caught out, but no, then the team coming to have his back, and then eventually does get the Meganar, actually, really, by the time it's already decided. One thing that I do want to point out regarding the gold lead is that, now as Ornn just does start to dole out the ornaments, has already given out the first one over there to Zalp. With picking up, I love the names, the Worm Fallen Sacrifice for the Sivir. Those don't, count in the gold, but they do, make a substantial difference as far as sort of the gold value of items. So that's something to keep in mind, that Ornn does provide that sort of additional scaling element even after all of the items do eventually end up being purchased as well. So it's one of the big reasons that teams make pick this champion that we don't, you can't really see with your eyes. You certainly can see the ultimate, but you can't necessarily see those tiny icons. And so it'll be interesting to see. I would assume that next probably upgrade for BKP, but could be for Redakted as well on the Wukong. Is 7-2-3 on this Wukong, which is pretty strong, has been pretty impressive. So Goldfish, though, they are setting up some vision, maybe trying to look for some kind of pick here. Remember, that is, according to ProComps, the name of the game.
Absolutely, as we see Matt G just having a little mano-a-mano with the Ornn there, but he's just gonna have him off the for a bit. But you made a very great point, Elsa, that I also wanted to just harp back on real quick. That you also spoke about earlier in draft. The longer this game goes on, the more dangerous it gets for Goldfish, just because of those ornaments. Eventually, if both of these teams were to get their full complete builds, technically, ID Eclipse would have the advantage because of those ornaments. They have a bit more damage, a bit more stats in those ornaments. So, Fish do want to try and accelerate this game just a little bit quicker to end it before all those ornaments come online fully for the side of ID Eclipse here.
And one thing that, I will amend as well about sort of this late game is, yes, ID does have these really strong tools, but Goldfish will always have the pick potential with the Renata, with the Talia and the Pantheon, and on top of that, they will always have very, very strong single target damage to be able to burst down Sivir if she doesn't get the spell shield off. Same with this Ahri as well, and the later and later we get, Wukong's damage is going to start to fall off, especially his ability to kill multiple members. So if Goldfish can quickly target down BKB and or Zalp, that is going to leave ID in a precarious situation in these team fights. So, we've been talking about him all game. He's the fan favorite, but Matt G, we want to keep an eye on him when he gets the Meganar off. Can he, find some kind of setup, some kind of setup to CC one or both of these carries from ID Eclipse, because if he can, that will likely win his team the game, as Dragon is up again.
Yeah, and Matt G putting pressure on Blingo. They're forcing ID Eclipse to make this a 4v4 fight. They do not have the Ornn ultimate. They are looking, though, as Boardbox will flash in the charm, and Oreo Murder's already taken down, rejected the new, or Kaiser Uwu will have to use the Zayas there, as they just collapse all over dirt. Mossy's already late to the fight, as the rest of Goldfish Gaming has already been murdered, and that is oh no, it's a quadra kill actually, not a quadra kill, but 4-man wipe for ID Eclipse against Goldfish Gaming, as Matt G was still in the top lane. I thought he was TPing. It looked like Ornn canceled the TP though. Yeah, because I was like, wait a minute, I saw a TP coming up.
Yeah.
Triple kill, however, for Zalp, and they're now marching down this inhibitor turret.
Yeah, just gonna run it down the mid lane, and I think that's part of why Blingo used the ult on Ornn, also to be able to cancel that initial back from Matt G. No, because there's two. Matt G was able to get back. They know that, and then also Oreo Murder spawning up. They are onto this Baron, and it looks like they're going to start it. This is a very, very risky move. Look at the health bars from BKB. Even Zalp missing some health. Not going to be able to heal too much of it up yet with the items he has. In fact, still losing health. Matt G is already here. This is burning low, but I don't know about whether the members will
alive,
survive.
but he has no ultimate, though. Ooh.
Okay.
You see that spell shield from Zalp there?
Yep.
As the Zanya, or not Zanya, Shirelius has been used. Warrior Murderer is just going to be murdered. Dirt 212 in the middle of this team fight, and he will be taken down by Wardbox and Blingo there. Matt G, though, downs out in retribution, gets the shutdown. Kaiser Uwu in the backline, chasing the Ornn away as Mossy is now here to back up his top laner. Matt G and Mossy are looking for this jungler here. Wardbox, though, Rocket Grab should be back online, so they will have to be a bit careful as they do not want to get hooked by this Blitzcrank inside the ID Eclipse base, and they will take home 3 Baron buffs.
Yeah, so they are going to retain 3 Baron buffs. Definitely enough, especially since they don't have a super strong split pushing champion on this team. So, you know, like a key member that really needs to have it. Ornn does have it, which is really, really helpful against Gnar when you're, you know, trying to defend those split pushes. And speaking of Gnar,
Matt G. Speaking of Gnar, he will get the shove into the wall there, will hop away. Wardbox and Blingo are here. Wardbox, remember, Rocket Grab is active. Kaiser Uwu is here to back up his top lane. Watch out for Mossy using that Grand Starfall to come in and stun up Rejected the new. And it's a complete bonanza as ID Eclipse had collapsed all over Goldfish Gaming, and they will be taken down. Shutdown given over to BKB as he takes down Matt G. Hook coming out again as Mossy will be the next to go down. That is 3 wipe, the solo laners and jungler from Goldfish Gaming. Warrior Murderer looks to be next, but he will be able to escape with his life.
Yeah, and they try to, you know, make something out of that situation with Matt G getting engaged on, but it seemed like Matt G probably would have been able to run out and, you know, while
he was backing right there, right?
Yeah, well, so he got interrupted at first, but then after they engaged on him, Matt G got the Mega Gnar. It looked like, you know, he would have been able to get himself to safety, but instead he opts to come back after Kaiser roamed on over and trying to miss the seismic shove. So it just seems like you know, maybe a little bit of, I don't want to say lack of coordination, because, you know, like they did coordinate to re-engage in that, but just not really picking the fights that they need to pick. You know, there's not really any reason that they particularly needed to fight that. You know, no objectives coming up right immediately after it or anything like that. And they didn't have any huge advantages in the fight. So, you know, that's really all a long way of saying.
Elsa, there are 4 ornaments online now.
Yep.
All that's left is word boxes.
Yep.
We are only 33 minutes into the game. So how much harder does this get for Goldfish Gaming here? I mean, I do agree with what you said, but those ornaments, those stats, and not everyone is full build yet, so we're getting close though. We are approaching critical mass for both sides here. More so for ID Eclipse than Goldfish.
I mean, I will still say, you know, for the most part here, even with the ornaments, like it's mostly an upgrade to the damage, for the damage that's going to come out from ID. So again, it's just going to be about CCing multiple key members, you know, or you know, in a 5v5, probably from the Mega Gnar or Pantheon, and Renata catching someone out. But speaking of not out.
Oh, that's a lot of damage coming out from Gnar though. Mini Gnar, wow. But they're going to collapse on Matt G here. Mossy is going to give over his top laner as a sacrifice. He's going to try and fight back. The answer is no. Zalp gets the kill. 8, 2, and 7 on this Sivir. And it's still only about a 1k gold lead in favor of ID Eclipse, though.
Yeah, it's such a close game right now. And, you know, all in all, even with that pick, you know, it is nice to get some gold, but it really isn't seeding, you know, a huge amount of map control or anything to ID. Kaiser's going to get his back off right now. It does. I mean, actually, it does see map control.
We need to see Kaiser more. We need to see more from Kaiser.
Absolutely.
Don't you think?
Yeah, no. And I mean, I'll just totally take back everything that I said, because it does see control the river. But Mossy? Oh my.
Mossy steals the Infernal Drake. I mean, his life is given over, but that's still Drake in favor of Mossy. If they can take down Blingo as well, that will give Goldfish Gaming a bit more time to to stall this game out. Dirt 212 almost goes down. He will use the axes there, and Blingo goes down. Oreo Murderer and this Draven here are able to take down Blingo, but BKB is here for the retribution. He wants to get another kill. He takes the support. Dirt was trying to get the Ari underneath the turret, but the answer will be no. They are now chasing Goldfish Gaming, stuck between two turrets. ID Eclipse will have to retreat.
Yeah, and they do have multiple low health bars, and Matt G was about to get Mega, so they have to back off for now, but also Baron is spawning in 49 seconds, so gaining some ward control over onto this side. They are going to spot the back, though, from Zalp, so that will be a little bit of information, at least letting them know that they're going to reset, but I think that should be pretty expected for Goldfish here, and, you know, Blingo DX, you know, I feel for played through the lane phase, you know, against the Gnar, just trying to do, you know, his play as safe as he possibly could, and it does pay off for him later as in the game, as you can see him almost 1v2ing against Draven and Renata. I mean, that's again, like, this is, you know, we talk about sort of the consequences of picking Draven as far as what are the trade-offs to the early power, and this is one of them, you know, kind of an inability to shred tanks, especially since we see all armor coming out here from the Ornn, not concerned about Kaiser. That's just not really a Draven thing. Mossy, though, just getting 1v1.
Mossy, but Gnar, Matt G finds two in the back line, will shove them into the wall. The Ari, and I believe that was the Sivir there, or actually, yeah, Ari and Sivir that he shoved. Kaiser Uwu standing on the flank. Uyghur's wall is active. This Baron here, some hostile takeover does connect. Rejected the new, will look to be picked off. His GA has been proc. Warpo seizes the Renata as she goes down first. Matt G will Gnar out, gets the Gnar stun into the wall. He is fighting 1v3 here as Kaiser Uwu and Mousy are in the backline being destroyed. Matt G and Kaiser Uwu are the only bastions of Goldfish Gaming left, as ID Eclipse will now look to march down mid lane to take this game.
And it's Zalp in that fight that I have my eye on as just staying alive in the backline, bringing that consistent damage from the Sivir that the Draven does not provide, not having to get so close with the W bouncing off members, and we'll see if they're able to end it. They do have minions.
Rejected a new Cyclone. Kaiser Uwu goes into stasis and watch that Gnar bar. Matt G has almost Gnar'd out. Where Yukon goes down, Mega Gnar is the last bastion here to keep Goldfish Gaming's Game 1 hope alive. Zalp is of his health. He does get the Gnar. BKB will dash out. Oreo Murderer is alive. Matt G goes down, but he does proc the Silver GA. The Nexus has been exposed. Dirt 212 is now here with his Renata to back him up. Mozzie using the Grand Starfall. Zap will back away. Boomerangs are being launched though. They are looking for Blingo. He will dash away, and Goldfish Gaming keep their Nexus alive for a bit longer.
Yeah, Goldfish Gaming is able to keep the game alive, but they do have to go back to heal, and it does look like ID Eclipse is pinging onto the Baron, but Zalp is going to go back onto the base. They don't want to take another risk and flip a Baron. I would guess that they probably want to come back and try to establish some kind of vision. I think they would just rather have a straight-up 5v5 and push down than, you know, force a Baron while Mossy is still alive, or, you know, having the ability to get in the pit. After what happened earlier, it's not really worth the risk with the amount of control that ID has right now. Even when you just look at the XP on some of these champions, 2 levels up for Rejected anew, you know, 1 level up still for BKB. Just everybody's pretty much out leveling. So other than
I gotta ask you real quick, Elsa, though, do you think, and this isn't Flame, but do you think that they should have given Mossy to Leah and put Kaiser on something else? Because he just does not look comfortable in that champion to me. But I answer that question later, as ID Eclipse have decided, you know what? We're going to force this. We want to try and end the game. But Goldfish Gaming were able to retreat and defend their base here, as we do see Blingo walk into the Talia wall there. Dirt does get the shutdown. Rejected anew, looking for Dirt, but Dirt is still alive. Keep your eyes on this Draven. Triple kill for Dirt. That will be the quadra as he takes down Blingo. Mossy gets the shutdown on Zalp, however. And Goldfish Gaming, Ace, ID Eclipse, are they going to take the game here? They're marching down mid trying to clear out these minions.
I don't think they have enough time to end the game, but there is the Dragon up right now, which would be the Soul after Mossy's steal earlier, as well as the Baron. So they're going to do what I think is the smart thing. They're going to send Matt G down here. And so once he finishes it, he does have teleport available to come back in. And the only thing I have to say about the fight in the base, Redakted, rah! There was just a massive, as we see the replay, a massive play by Matt G with the giant Gnar there. It just separating the team, causing the chaos that they needed, like I said, onto the multi-member engage. That allows them to break through in the fight and somehow stay alive in this game. And we were concerned about the damage from Goldfish Redakted. And if there was a band-aid that ever existed for that problem, it would be the Infernal Soul.
Absolutely. Wow, you're absolutely right. ID Eclipse has the ornaments. Goldfish Gaming have the Infernal Soul. So now the question is, how do both of these teams play it out? Goldfish Gaming are, of course, going to want to wait for their inhibitor, to respawn because they have an exposed Nexus.
Yeah.
They do have Baron as well to just, buff up these minions and delay ID Eclipse from once again making that Baron rush play that they probably will try. Maybe they might not try it again this time. Who knows? We'll see. If they get a pick, then they're definitely going to look for it. But I don't think they're going to be as bold this time to do that base rush there that they did last time. And now that Goldfish have Infernal and that they are a bit stronger.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, the next fight is more than likely going to decide the entirety of this game. Still 4.5 minutes till the next objectives. Baron and Eldrick going to be spawning at pretty much simultaneously. We could get to that point, but I would imagine that if we did, it would not be maybe one pick here or there. But the death timer is just so long. Almost everybody hitting level 18 here, other than the supports. So. We do find ourselves just sort of in this ultra late game position that I think that we do see more games, these days get to this point, especially post durability patch, just kind of seeing some of these fights play out a little bit slower, a little bit longer. But it makes for really exciting competitive games like this one tonight. Because I can't believe this is only game one, Redacted. We got a series. I'm gonna say it. We got a series on our hands. Even if it's only a 2-game series, I'll be satisfied. Because, and I mean, you can see here Goldfish, kind of valuing that understanding that one pick could, or probably will decide this entire game. So trying to find those little spaces where there's no vision. They might find somebody but Matt G. Oh. Hello? Matt G, he's gonna Gnar into the wall. I don't know if Redacted's here.
I'm sorry.
Coming in.
I'm back. Matt G. Eyes on Matt G.
He already used his ult.
Mossy will flash over the wall. He does get the stun on rejected new. Renata ult has been procced. Dirt 212 in the middle of the entire fight. He has been pulled. Dirt 212 will be able to take down Blingo though first. The 4 members of Goldfish Gaming are still alive, as well as 4 members on ID. Health bars are low. Matt G does have teleport. Yep. He's teleporting bot. Is he going to force the bot turret here, or is he going to look for a flank? The answer looks to be forcing this bot lane turret here, as Mossy and the rest of Goldfish Gaming are still corralling ID Eclipse here. They will be able to take down BKB, and now they're going to look for this tier 2 turret as Matt G takes down the tier 2 turret in the bot lane. Goldfish Gaming have found the angle against ID Eclipse here.
They have, but they're still not going to be able to end the game, and so I was just absolutely wrong when I said the next fight would determine it, as Rejected Anu is going low, does have the GA back up. If Matt G was able to proc it, that would be a pretty big deal, but he will not be able to do so. So they're not even going to end up, I don't think, cracking the base here from Goldfish. They are picking up more gold into their pockets, but really at this point, there are not that many more items left to be picked up. So as far as kind of the value of that gold, it's not there in comparison to getting those turrets much earlier in the game. But Dirt
has to
here,
watch out for those hooks, man.
Dirt's getting caught out, but has stepped up big time in the second half of this game. Definitely has not, pulled the classic Draven and rage quit mentally and or physically. But, still just pumping out that damage, still does have significant single target damage, which, is enough to take out especially these squishier members of ID Eclipse here. So, I'll eat my words, Redacted. I probably jinked Caster Cursed. I said, we're not going to get to the objectives at, 4.5 minutes away. Well, now here we are 1.5 minutes away. And I've, while you never know, Goldfish might surprise us here, or, ID, so depending on how you look at it. But I think it is likely that those could determine the game.
But you can honestly really tell that Goldfish Gaming, I mean, obviously they don't want to lose this game, right? Like, nobody playing a competitive game wants to lose. But you can tell that both of these teams really want to beat the other team, though, because it will signify who is the stronger team of the two within the league. Goldfish right now at the second seed, ID Eclipse undefeated in the first seed, as Mossy using that blast plant there. A little bit dangerous, rejected anew, looking for the flank. The charm does connect. Matt G has Mega Nard, so oh man, Inferno will be spawning in 40 seconds, so that's terrible timing. I don't know exactly how long the cooldown will be. Maybe he'll be able to proc it back up before this Elder Drake. I said Inferno. Elder Drake does spawn. We'll have to see. But currently, I know that is a very tough cooldown that Goldfish Gaming would like to have here.
Yeah, he's going to try to run mid lane probably, or see if there's any jungle camps to try to start to get that bar stacked up. There is a little bit of a cooldown period of it.
Yeah, there he is.
You can see it is actually at this point in the game, it's quite quick. Especially once the dragon spawns, he'll be able to control it really easily as well. Over halfway. So,
yeah.
But we are, here it is, the Elder Drake.
Are you ready? Oh boy. Elder Drake is going down. Dirt is just melting it. Orin Horn has been used. Matt G is in the middle of the fight though. Renata and Goldfish Gaming are completely wiping ID Eclipse right now, as Mossy is in the back line. Zalp has been procced with his GA. Rejected news GA has been procced as well. BKB is trying to do the best he can. Dirt is still alive though, as BKB and Zalp are now looking for retribution. BKB Spirit launches forward and he takes down Dirt. Dirt is down. Warrior Murder is down. ID Eclipse will probably take game one here, as they're now marching towards this inhibitor.
It's an open nexus.
It's an open nexus. I thought turrets would back up, but they are not. Yeah. So inhibitor will be taken down here. They're gonna use the blast plant over just for a little bit of troll. Inhibitor goes down. Nexus is going down. ID Eclipse will take game one.
ID Eclipse, they come in with 2 subs and even at a much lower level of power than they presumably would be with their starting 5. They do manage to take a very hard-fought game 1, and, winning that game, obviously very exciting, but on the flip side, Redacted, losing a matchup like that, is just so close, so long, so drawn out. That's the moment where in solo queue, you say, like, I'm just going to call it a night. I'm just going to, be done after that L. But unfortunately, in a competitive match, there's more games to be played, and, you could quit, but it's not necessarily very, it's frowned upon, we'll say, in this community. So, Goldfish definitely going to have to find a way to reset their mental and come back. But Redacted, you and I know better than anybody that they know how to do that. That Mossy knows how to do that.
Definitely, Mossy knows how to cool the mental and reset, and look for the dubs. Luckily for us, this does have the potential to be a 3-game series. I think it just might be. But currently, Goldfish Gaming will have to seize game 2 to force us there. But man, Elsa, this was a really great game. I meant to ask you before we went into game. We didn't do predictions, but I don't even care anymore. I'm down for 3 games. I don't really care who wins for me personally, because I'm just excited for these 3 games of this back and forth that we're getting.
Is that like a dig on me? Like I would care who wins personally, or
no. But in the Twitch chat there, they definitely told me to call out your hopium for Goldfish Gaming.
Yeah.
I gotta do my viewers justice.
I see my fans, harassing me in the Twitch chat. But it's sometimes when you're famous, you just have to deal with stuff like that. And I'm a professional, so it's fine. No worries. I'm just preparing for game 2. No worries.
Yeah, I'm definitely preparing for game 2 as well. Any thoughts before we cut to break and go to game 2 for Goldfish Gaming as an ID Eclipse here?
For Goldfish Gaming going into game 2, I think they need to find some kind of identity as far as choosing a lane to focus on. It seemed like they were just kind of like torn between trying to baby the Draven and Renata through this lane, getting ganked over and over again by the Wukong, and playing around Matt G, who had established a lead in this strong side matchup. Nar can play weak side as well, like he can play back, but against Ornn, that is really a matchup that you want to be able to take advantage of. So, like, going into the next draft, I want to see a little bit more focus there. It's not that it needs to be a tank top lane or it needs to be like the safest ever bottom lane, but just something that will allow them to have at least flexibility in that regard.
Yeah, and I know Kaiser did do a lot of damage. I'm not discrediting his play on Taliyah, but honestly, I just don't think he looked as comfortable or as efficient on that champion as Mossy is known to be. I think I want to see Kaiser on something that he's a bit more comfortable or efficient with, and just so that way he has more agency and he just plays better, because Kaiser the Taliyah wasn't working on Kaiser, in my opinion, for this composition. So I think Goldfish does have the potential to play a lot better with giving Kaiser a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? Agency. There we go.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think that, Kaiser got caught out bot 2 times early. That made a huge impact on the game, no doubt. Definitely set him behind BKP, who did have a lot of control of the fights in the late game on the RA, somebody I don't think I spoke about enough during the game. So, again, it'll be interesting to see how they adjust, whether they decide if it's the champions that are sort of the problem, or the way they played that game out.
But we'll find out here shortly, as we're going to cut to a short break as we prepare for game 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We are back here live for game 2 of ID Eclipse versus Goldfish Gaming, and we are already into picking bans here. Goldfish Gaming banning the GP and Cassiopeia. Meanwhile, ID Eclipse currently banning the Sivir, and we're waiting on their second ban here. My friend Elsa, what do you think Goldfish or ID Eclipse will like to keep out of the hand of Goldfish Gaming here? Did I?
Well, obviously the Sivir, which they did not ban away in the first draft, but they were on the blue side. So obviously this is a pick ban champion for them. They do not, if anyone's going to be playing it, it's going to be them. And it looks like here for ID Eclipse, I believe that they are here respecting the bans.
Was it the ESUB ban?
Yeah, from
Okay, because I thought my browser was tweaking.
I believe they do now have the I believe they do now have the full roster other than Zhao, who's still the ESUB, I believe.
Okay.
Because Eddie Boy has come in here. Yeah, okay. So the GP banned out again, that is specifically towards Eddie Boy. And we do see Goldfish Gaming is going to be first picking the Seraphine. And interestingly enough, Redakted, I was taking a look at ID Eclipse's drafts. Victor is a very common denominator amongst them. They also do have a draft where they first pick Seraphine on the blue side too. So and they sent it to the mid lane for XBKP. So definitely something that he feels comfortable on, but it is going to be the Victor. And we will see if it ends up being Oreo, Murderer, or Kaiser with taking control of this Seraphine. Ultimately, I'm sure that those two players do have flexibility with this one, so Goldfish themselves might not even know quite yet. So ID Eclipse here, not wanting to be super committal. Ezreal seems like a good choice in that case, just to provide some safety in the bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Ezreal Victor already screams to me a lot to poke. Oh, but Seraphine Misfortune screams to me Team Fight Bonanza. Oh, man. And I really hope... And that also lets me know that Seraphine is not going in the bot lane in hands of Dirt212. We know previously last split played a lot of AP bot lane champions. So
that's true. Yeah,
they definitely still are showing that they have confidence in their bot laner to play these AD carries, these marksmen. So yes, that potentially does have the women. Yeah, correct. Thank you. Marksmen and markswomen. You are correct. I know.
Riot's term, Riot.
But yeah, that still does not tell us where Seraphine is actually going just yet. It could be going into the hands of Oreo Murder or into the hands of Kaiser Uwu. We'll have to see what else Goldfish Gaming will pick here. But as of right now, Goldfish Gaming's drafted
Nidalee angle. Oh my lord!
What?
All right.
I'm about to look up Mossy. You can go ahead and talk, Elsa.
I mean, okay, so I mean, as far as like, I think Mossy plays basically everything on this side of the earth or whatever. I have every confidence that he can play Nidalee as a champion. With that being said, unless it's a flex, maybe Nidalee support we could see coming through or something.
Where's he going?
Really mid.
Oh.
But I am just not a huge fan of Nidalee as a champion. Because of the fact that she is super reliant on her lanes to set up CC for gank. She doesn't bring any CC herself. And then, she's kind of actually like similar to Pantheon in that she has that early game strength where she can, bully, try to have presence in lanes and in the enemy jungle. But unlike Pantheon, she does not have like the CC and the, engage with the ultimate later in the game to make up for it. Plus, I will credit to Mossy that he was doing a lot of damage throughout that whole game. So for Nidalee, the game just becomes more and more difficult to play as it goes on. So, it'll be interesting to see how Mossy plays this one out, or why this was the Nidalee angle, I guess, is sort of my query.
Yeah. Hopefully we see Mossy pull out his best Canyon impression and actually carry his team to victory, unlike Canyon did last split. If anyone watches the LCK, they'll know exactly what game I'm talking about. But yeah, let's talk about these bans here real quick. We did see the Tryndamere and Taric banned out, as well as the Amumu and Gnar ban. Meanwhile, ID Eclipse hovering that Braum here. So Ezreal Braum, which is not typically a common pairing you see, but it will be locked in here.
It's just kind of like the safest of bot lanes that you can get, with the Braum just providing the shield, the stand behind me shield, which is also, and it's also a direct counter pick to not only Misfortune with the Braum, but also Nidalee, being able to block those projectiles and take reduced damage from the first one that hits it, as far as the Nidalee Spear at least. And then also Ezreal's Q procs Braum's passive as well. So there is some synergy there between these champions, but as the Vigar is locked in, this is what I wanted to see from Kaiser. Certainly Talia is a powerful champion, but we know what we remember Kaiser for, other than his karma, against Goldfish Gaming, is his ability to scale on these champions, sit back, look maybe a little questionable even through the first 30 minutes of the game, and then just pop off and carry the rest of it, with these Vigars, with these Corkis, and these, just these late game scaling mid lane champions. So with the Gragas here to finish it out, I was just going to mention, so a couple of things. First of all, this is an all AP team comp coming out. The Misfortune, of course, does bring AD, but also bringing magic damage as well. Definitely has mixed damage with the ult and with the E. But they needed to pick something into the top lane that was going to bring some amount of CC, because, like I mentioned, Nidalee just cannot gank without setup. So, honestly, Seraphine is not the ideal sort of Nidalee setup. You're looking for something that's more point and click, engage oriented, something that's why like Redakted Nidalee, for example, is a really, really popular pairing. But again, we're not going to see that. And this the amount of magic damage on the side of Goldfish Gaming's composition is a little bit worrying for me, especially considering that I see at least, I see 3 members of ID Eclipse in the Wukong, Braum, and Olaf who are all going to be able to stack some magic resist in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a little bit concerned for Goldfish Gaming. I mean, we do probably expect the Vigar to be going mid, but it could be Vigar support Seraphine mid, vice versa. Highly unlikely. And then with Matt G on this Gragas here, I would really hope to expect to see it somewhat of a tank build. He doesn't have that potential to go hybrid. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not going full AP. If he is, he's trolling. But we'll see how that build shapes out for the side of the Goldfish Gaming top lane here. Meanwhile, like you said, ID Eclipse. Actually, I just realized that Olaf, it'll probably be a top lane Olaf as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, are we in client draft yet? Okay.
Gotcha. It looks like we are. Yeah, it looks like we're just about to go into that, but I will be a little bit of a contrarian, actually, Redacted, about the Gragas. I do think that there's a chance that we will actually see the full AP coming out from Matt G this game, just because that is, at least in solo queue, that is typically what we do see right now. First, Gragas taking the first strike allows him to get a lot of extra gold during the lane phase, just kind of, throwing out those Qs over and over again, and especially against melee champions, he can kind of get that poke off, just get those extra bits of gold here and there. And I think, going against the Olaf, more than likely here, Wukong and Olaf do flex, but I would expect certainly the Olaf to go into the top lane, because Olaf is, once Olaf can get ahead of Gragas, he is just Gragas's worst nightmare, because once he pops that ultimate from Olaf, Gragas not able to knock him away with the cast, not able to body slam into him, so just loses all of the tools basically that he normally would have to disengage and deal with carry champions in the top lane. So I think that you do need to go damage, because otherwise it's just going to be like Olaf slowly getting to the point where Gragas does no damage back to him, and Olaf can just kill him over and over again.
Full AP Elsa?
So looking right now,
like hybrid build,
looking right now at like the Plat Plus, like most common builds, it is Doran's Ring into Night Harvester, and then also usually picking up a tier into Archangels, something like Cooldown Boots, possibly Zanya's Hourglass, Cosmic Drive. There are a lot of AP items right now that are really good on Gragas, in particular. So even in professional play, even if it's not the Night Harvester, we've seen, I cannot remember that. We see other AP iterations as well. The same one that Vigar builds with that shoots out the slow. God, I cannot remember the name of it. It's
Everfrost?
Everfrost, exactly. Everfrost Gragas is also a thing as well, so we could see that.
Yeah.
And as we go through this client draft, though, Eddie Boy right now hovering the Wukong. Remember that once they pick, they do have until 20 seconds is left, but it will even be Eddie Boy right now holding the Olaf. And again, like I would just really expect that to be where these picks go, because generally speaking, as we've seen both Olaf and Wukong receive some nerfs, they've sort of settled into their specialties in the top and jungle, respectively.
Okay.
This
Yeah, I'm
Nidalee.
still waiting to see if I'm gonna see client draft. So
Oh,
I'll just
fun.
listen to what you're telling me there, Elsa, so far.
Yeah, no
But
surprises so far.
okay, cool. Good to know. But yeah, let's talk about it. I mean, I feel like we've talked a lot about the top lane, so let's just go through the
True.
rest of the other positions, right? Wukong into Nidalee here. That's that's a very interesting matchup, and I have not seen that or experienced that in quite a long time. I don't even remember the last time um, you've seen those two junglers in the matchup against each other. I do believe Wukong probably has the advantage over Nidalee early game, just due to the damage and the clone and whatnot. But
Yeah.
yeah, what are your thoughts as we
I
move
just think
through?
with Nidalee, like Nidalee is one of the few champions in the game that I feel just has a really, really infinite skill ceiling to her. And what I mean by that is just that I think it's difficult to assess. Certainly some matchups are better or worse for Nidalee. But what the piece of it that is difficult to assess is it's all about the execution of the Nidalee and the mechanics. Can you hit the spear? Can you get the trap? To be able to, get the proc, get that additional damage, sorry, when you change over into the cougar form. That setup is really, really important, and the first jungle clear is just absolutely critical for Nidalee. The last time you talked about Redakted, we haven't seen Nidalee in the meta for so long. The last time that we saw her as, and really whenever we see her just as a constant staple, is metas where we see junglers who clear the jungle really, really quickly and or invade the
Mhm.
enemy jungle and early gank. Um, are really, really strong, because that's what Nidalee does. She clears those camps quickly and then gets into the enemy jungle to disrupt or a gank. So, I feel like I'm always hyping this early pathing from the junglers. But again, specifically for Nidalee, and then, even for ID Eclipse, we'll see if they do try to get some invade early here. They have Braum, who's really the king of level 1. So if they can get some information about where Nidalee is going to start, that's going to be huge for ID as a team.
Yeah, and I want to talk about a little bit before we cut to a break here pretty soon. I want to talk about the compositions a little bit, and I have to say, it's AP heavy as Goldfish compositions is. They do have a lot of CC
That's true.
combos, that can set up these team fights. The Gragas barrel into the Seraphine ultimate with Vigar Event Horizon, and then Dirt to clean it up with the bullet time there. So there are plenty of ways they can stack the CC to get these combos going, and neutral objectives are going to be a bit of hell for ID Eclipse here. I mean, sure, yeah, they have their own ways of engaging and disengaging, right? With the Wukong Cyclone, Olaf not so much. He's just gonna run in and disrupt as he typically likes to do. And then with the Victor Chaos Storm and the Braum Fisher there, they also have plenty of tools to engage or disengage. So it's once again going to be a battle of different styles of play and how they want to play these compositions here. But we'll find out here shortly how this game will turn out, and if we'll go to a game 3, if Goldfish Gaming can capture this, or if ID Eclipse will remain on top. As we cut to a short break as we prepare for that game. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back. welcome back, everyone, as we are here for Game 2, Goldfish Gaming against oh my god, I can never say it right the first time. Iridescent Dawn Eclipse. And we're seeing plenty of masteries flashed, as Oreo Murder will get the root down onto quite a few champions of ID Eclipse there, and they're going to recall and just top off their health once again.
Yeah,
Did I say it right, Elsa? Is it iridescent? Iridescent?
Iridescent.
I don't know why that's so hard to me to say. Iridescent. Thank you.
Iridescent.
Yeah,
Dawn.
iridescent. Not a common word.
Yeah.
I was being lazy.
So with that invade attempt coming out, not really very much, if any, information garnered there from Iridescent Dawn. They do get the word down in the tri-brush, but that's really not going to tell them anything other than where the bot lane decides to path there. So it looks like, you know, pretty smart from the Goldfish Gaming bot lane, gonna do a little bit of a fake leash here, just so that they are really unaware where Mossy's starting. And look at Mossy here. Really interesting path. He's still level 1. Hasn't picked up.
Yeah, still level 1.
Trying to go for the steal.
Oh, he actually connects too. He's gonna have the entire.
He got it.
Smite. He does get it. He has burning down Rejected New flashes over Mossy, flashes as well. He's burning. Rejected New goes down first blood for Mossy, and now Ed Boy will have to watch his flank as Mossy is on those Krugs. He will place a ward in that tri-bush there to be aware of Mossy's presence.
And just like I talked about as we were getting ready for this one, Redacted, it's all about with Nidalee those creative paths and getting into the enemy jungle early on. And early, Mossy heard that part of it specifically with really creative path there, faking the leash on both sides, and then just, you know, starting this with the sweeper, running up, and even landing that, you know, really good spear with the vision. And here he is. You were right, Eddie Boy.
Yeah, Mossy is here. Eddie Boy will be punished as Mossy and Matt G are looking to take down this Olaf. I don't know why he was so far ahead in lane when he already knew the jungler was there. Eddie Boy goes down. We have the spectator bug. Producer, could you go ahead and refresh that for us so we can see who has the kills? There it is. Mossy got it.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, I think, you know, I agree that Eddie Boy should know that Mossy is likely still on that side of the map, but with that, you know, in his defense, as Olaf, very difficult in that lane to not push up, just because you're always going to be wanting to hurl your axes at that Gragas, and, rejected anew.
Yeah,
just able to get that.
Was looking. But now in enemy territory, Mossy is here. Oreo Murderer to back him up. Kaiser Event Horizon goes down. Flash root. And Rejected Anew is taken down.
And that's exactly what you want as Nidalee. You know, like, once dying again for Rejected Anew on this still level 2 here as we are about to eclipse this 4-minute mark. And for Mossy, even though he does end up losing the gold from the red, he does end up getting the buffs back, and, you know, all of the kills going over to Nidalee so far. So, you know, now on one hand, yes, we keep emphasizing that this Nidalee needs an early lead. On the other hand, you do want to remember that it is putting your eggs in one basket, but pretty powerful basket, as Mossy's, you know, not going to pick up the kill, but he will pick up another Dark Harvest stack. So that is still a win for the Nidalee, running wherever she seems to please right now at this.
And Elsa, you did call it out. I don't know if you called it out on stream, but Mossy is using the Canyon skin.
Oh, true.
Once again, for any of our viewers at home who do know about the Canyon lore on this Nidalee, it is one of his signature champions. However, he did lose after a very crazy performance last split against Gen G, I believe. Hopefully Mossy doesn't channel the same energy. We'll have to see, though.
Yeah, they're off to a good start, and Mossy's still, you know, looking to continue pressuring here.
And Mossy's here. The root does connect on Zalp. The spear as well. Mossy will give over the kill to Dirt 212. That is a good jungle play. Wardbox uses his flash, but that was pretty stupid, I'll say, because he was dying anyway. I didn't want to play, but that was done. Flash.
Yeah. There was a really big minion wave. I think maybe he thought that somehow if he could manipulate the minions to hit one of the members there from Goldfish, probably Dirt, he could maybe sort of try to pick up some kind of kill. But yeah, in the end, does end up looking a little bit silly with that one. So there you can see Mossy being super intentional to hand those kills off over to Dirt, who did not get those early resources, notably in game 1 on the Draven when he really needed it. MF, now he does sort of have that scaling option. It's not MF doesn't need to scale to do damage, but it is an option always later in the game. But he's going to be set up early on, already picking up that Dirt coming back to lane on top of the tier. So Ezreal just sitting on the tier and boots, really going to struggle. Yes, he's able to arcane shift himself to safety, but just going to take a ton of poke from this MF and going to be in danger once that level 6 dings.
Absolutely. Yeah, and level 6 for the bot lane of Goldfish is going to be disgusting because this Encore and the bullet time. Oh god, I don't even want to think about it. Especially if Ori Murderer lands a root first, it's just over. It's literally over. Yeah, Braum can use his stand behind Braum, but it's only gonna mitigate so much damage. As we see another root come out from Ori Murder here, so. This is gonna be this bot lane of this Goldfish Gaming bot lane is just going to get a lot more scarier to handle for the side of ID Eclipse here.
I mean, and I'm BKB.
He's fine.
Looks like he should be able to get him. Oh, Mossy just with these heat-seeking spears.
Mossy with the Q.
He missed it.
Storm just come out though, but Mossy up. Mossy take it and Mossy give it away. Shut down over the BKP.
I believe he missed, or he didn't end up hitting his Q. I'm so confused. I didn't see the Q come out, which the Q has the execution damage portion of it. And so that is, normally what allows Nidalee to pick off those super low health targets. And, that is big for Mossy just because it does slow the tempo of this game a little bit more down. And then, on top of that, for BKP, picking up a huge shutdown on this Victor who wants to just be chilling and scaling in this mid lane. So does Kaiser. We haven't talked a lot about the mid lane for a reason, which is that, both these champions just kind of happy to hang out. But that's going to get Victor there even faster. And the Chaos Storm, looking at how squishy this team is from Goldfish Gaming, Matt G picked up the tier first, which does point towards maybe that more of that AP style build potentially. It could, it certainly could. But either way, not a lot of tank. Even if Gragas is tank, not very much tank. And the Victor is gonna thrive in that situation. So,
absolutely. And not that I don't. Oh my golly! As Mossy gets the Q on Wardbox there, but the Rector Camp has other opinions as we see Gragas belly bop the Olaf, and both teams will just go ahead and retreat to the respective side of the jungle, and we are back in our laning phase here.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that a little bit of it was that Matt G had just gone back to base, but he is down in this lane against the Olaf, but was able to push him back, forcing the ultimate out from Olaf, who it didn't look like probably had enough mana to fight through an extended engage in that situation. So, I do start to fear for Matt G, even going, it does look like he is going to go tank. So there we go. I was wrong, Redakted. He did pick up the Bomby Cinder. So going with this tank build, though, I do start to get really afraid for Matt G starting to fall as he falls behind. Because again, once Eddie Boy, all 5 plates are still there on that top lane turret, but if Matt G gets in a long lane situation against this Olaf, he will eventually just start to get run down over and over again. So
we're not obviously not at that point yet. We mentioned before, though. Mossy stuck between a rock and a hard place. The gravity well does connect. Mossy uses the Q to get over the wall. Chaos Storm, Kaiser Uwu corrals ID Eclipse and gets his jungler out. Saving Private Mossy is a success.
Yeah, Kaiser, I feel a couple times this game has been the one to shepherd Mossy out of these sticky situations that Nidalee does have to put herself in. Oh, Kaiser?
As well as the ultimate does connect, but BKB will be able to live through the damage. Rejected anew, being really aggressive here on this Veigar. He will be dissuaded by the Oreo Murder and the rest of Goldfish Gaming. He will burst his flash. Bullet time. Dirt is on a killing spree.
Dirt on a killing spree on this MF, and the tables have turned here with Dirt being the one who has the resources, but Mossy's gonna face check.
Mossy is gonna face check, and he's about an eighth of
He's
his
not
health, shielded
done.
up by Oreo Murderer now. BKB is on the retreat. Mossy, however, is still looking for it. Dodges the laser, dash forward, misses the spear. BKB gets out alive.
All right, look for anybody to look for a fight here, maybe. Oh, he did TP back into lane, but is still level down, wants to pick up that CS. So now Dirt left alone again. Oh, he took aggro.
We've
What?
seen this before,
Wait.
but the turret aggro, the ignite, and Dirt is on a rampage. 4-0-0 on this
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we would have to see the replay. But I'm not
We
sure.
get
He
one.
obviously must have auto attacked Dirt, I guess, because he took the aggro, or he walked under the turret before the minions got there. Either way, pretty big mistake there from Warbox. And coming into this game, you know, I pointed out how crucial of an ability that Braum Shield would be. But I also wanted to, you know, talk about how Warbox has not played this Braum yet in CCS, has been, you know, fairly limited in the champions played so far with the Taric, Nautilus, and Blitzcrank only. So, you know, going on to something different and, you know, maybe looking a little uncomfortable here because Braum does not have nearly the dive capability that the rest of the champions in the support for ID's pool possess.
Yeah, Matt G so far holding his own on Eddie Boy. I'm sorry. I'm definitely thinking about the Cartoon Network series right now due to his name. But yeah, Matt G holding his own against Eddie Boy there. But the CS, as you mentioned, Elsa, the CS differential is starting to climb, and we will start to see this Olaf here put the damage into the Gragas health bar there. So, I mean, it's just a ticking time bomb, but hopefully by that point, Goldfish Gaming across the rest of the map has scaled enough where Matt G just uses his ultimate there and sets up the killer combos for his team.
Yeah, and you know, Eddie Boy is quite far off just being able to straight up dive Matt G at this point. So, you know, they do have a little bit more time left, like until things get that critical. But what Goldfish does lose in the short term is just map control on the top side, you know, unless Mossy's there to Kaiser.
Oh, Chaos Storm,
Mossy's
but
revenge?
Jeez, Mosy gets the Q, gets the kill. BKB goes down. Siri, why are you talking into my microphone? Go away. Eddie Boy and now Matt G in Mortal Kombat. The axe goes wide. Matt G's mana is pretty low. Mossy Spears goes wide once again. Zaup and Warbox will just back off for the time being. But Shelly has now been launched to put more gold into Dirt 212's pocket. Matt G, his health is about halfway. No mana. Eddie Boy wants to get the turret as Warbox using the Glacial Fissure. The Encore does connect with the bullet time. Zaup is about half of his health, a little bit less than that. Mossy will have to retreat though, as they did get the TP from PKP. ID Eclipse keeps their bot lane alive just a little bit longer. Oh, and I spoke too soon. The poke. Dirt 212 is unstoppable. Make it rain connects. Braum goes down. Turret might just go next. They are poking this down, but Caster Minion will be taken out.
Here comes
And
Wukong.
Goldfish Gaming will have to try a little bit longer. Wukong is here. But looking, no, they're gonna back
Do you really
off.
want to take this first
No,
turret?
They do. Oh, they're looking for rejected
I
news in the
think
bush.
they don't.
I think
Otherwise,
so.
Eddie Boy's going to get it in the top lane
Dirt
eventually.
will face check. TP coming out from Eddie Boy. Dirt 212 and Oreo Murder. Mossy now, actually from Matt G that I misspoke. Kaiser Uwu will land the Event Horizon. Explosive cast connects, but it's not enough as Rejected News is already out of range. So ID Eclipse Jungler will live just a bit longer. Mossy's gonna recall. Actually, once again, he's changed his mind. Mossy just has violence on his agenda currently, as he's gonna stick around. As this bot lane tier 1 turret from ID Eclipse is just a sneeze away from being knocked down. They're gonna grieve from it. The Cyclone comes out. Warrior Murder's gonna give over Dirt, and the shutdown will be given over to the mid laner.
Yeah.
EKP. I don't.
You're
know.
just never going to be able to take that.
How much is too much greed?
Yeah, I mean, until
how
against
much is too much greed?
I mean, against Victor, that is way too much greed because at this point, Victor has the upgraded E. With the laser, just going to be able to clear out the vast majority of the wave before it even makes it to the turret. So, despite Matt G having a nice ultimate there, trying to knock Wukong back into the team, it just doesn't knock him quite far. I will say, as we mentioned, looking strong here.
Ooh, Matt G gets the belly bop. Ragnarok is pop. Everfrost goes wide. Kaiser Uwu's Predator has been proc. Event Horizon connects. They corral Eddie Boy, and Kaiser Uwu gets the kill.
Yeah, and Kaiser is,
That's the agency we wanted to see from Kaiser.
Definitely, because, as we both mentioned, Redacted, we know that Kaiser is this player who has the ability to turn online later in the game when he has champions like Vigar, under his command, and has had a quiet early game so far. That's really what you want to see, if you're Vigar, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just want to sit back, chill, relax, get those stacks going, which, we can check in as well on the stacks for Kaiser right now, sitting at 145, which is really good. And, picking up that kill credit there is going to be big for him. And it's just, hopefully for Goldfish, it is a show of things to come. They would really like to have that additional damage threat to be bursting out, especially, bursting out this Victor, I think, from BKP is going to be the biggest thing, because he's really the one keeping ID Eclipse afloat at this point.
And the only reason he's keeping them afloat is because they've given him 2 shutdowns.
It's true. They have greeted a lot. Turrets are
Mossy gave him a shutdown, and Dirt gave him a shutdown. As Goldfish will take the Cloud Drake here, and it's going to be a Ocean Soul. So lots of bushes. Mossy's gonna love this as a Nidalee, not main, but Nidalee on the Nidalee right now, just due to all the extra coverage. Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, it is for sure. And, like I said, with Eddie Boy now opening up this turret, it has come to that point where if Matt G is pushed up far in the lane, we'll see in these longer extended trades, again, Gragas should start to lose out, but he's going to bounce over the wall.
I thought Matt G was trolling me, but Matt G was trolling them. Rejected and new though. Cyclone does connect, and he's just bursted between an eighth of his health. Explosive cast does connect. Matt G takes down. Rejected and new connects as well. Belly ward box will be going down next. Zop will have to shift away as BKP and the rest of ID Eclipse will retreat. Will they find this Olaf? The answer is no, but they will get Shirley.
And Oreo Murderer just setting that up at the end with 3 members getting hit by the Seraphine ultimate coming through. One just right over on the tip there, also managing to snag BKP. So that setup, while it it only results in the 1 kill out of those 3 members, it still does allow them to go forward into that river, feel confident enough to take down that Herald.
Oh, Dirt, run.
should be okay, I think, as MF just really fast. But yeah, should be able to back off there. And checking in on Mossy again in this top lane. Looks like he's trying to maybe ensure that his that Matt G is able to take this turret and summon the Rift Herald.
Yeah, absolutely. Rejected and new though will not have it as he wants to chase Mossy. That's how you know, like, Mossy does have some familiarity with this champion, because Nidalee players, they toe the line so much between, like, I don't even want to call it arrogance, but they just toe the line of between danger and death, or success and death, right? Like throwing those Qs, just poking you with the autos, as we see the teleport out here from Kaiser. So Mossy definitely familiar with this champion, even if we have not seen him play it quite too often in the CCS.
Yeah, no, I mean, we haven't seen him play it quite often in the CCS, but like I said, Mossy, he has a really, really wide champion pool, especially if it's a champion that's labeled as a jungle champion. He probably plays it, and tends to, find comfort on these champions again and pretty easily after not having played them, and we'll just pretend that didn't happen. I think he just missed.
Okay, it really looked like he blocked it. I was like, wait, can he block that?
Yeah, so Braum can block it if it hits if it's the first projectile to hit the Braum shield, it will just end it.
Ooh. Oh, they're looking for an explosive cast.
Like that. You see how it did.
There's that AP burst that Matt G does not have. However, Dirt 212 is able to clean it up. South goes down. Dirt 212 gets the double kill. The root does go wide though from Oreo Murderer. Goldfish Gaming get 2, and they're gonna look for this mid-tier 1 turret next.
Yeah, they are gonna be able to push forward for the mid-tier 1 as Mossy.
Mossy is being so aggressive on this Italy pick. Is it gonna bite Mossy or is Mossy gonna bite them? Takes down Rejected anew. Kaiser Uwu goes down as well. Mossy now behind enemy lines here. Will dash over the wall. BKB now hit with the spirit. We'll have to use the stasis. Matt G, this tank Gragas actually is coming to be a boon and not negative in favor of Goldfish Gaming. Matt G setting up that kill for Mossy, and they get the tier 1 turret. Goldfish Gaming now with a 4K gold lead. 16-3 on the kill score, Elsa.
And even though Kaiser ends up falling, he is able to access the backline with that Event Horizon, controlling the space in the fight, which also allows Mossy to be able to dive in there and get not as much damage off as I thought, I expected from the Nidalee, but it ends up working out in the end. BKP, though, just holding on to this game still with an iron grip on this victory. You can tell how hard this player is, just trying with every ounce of his strength to, win his team the game. So definitely, in game 1, Zalp looked really, really good on the Sivir, brought that consistent late game damage that that they needed from investing in that first pick. With the Ezreal, however, has not looked nearly as impactful, sitting at 0-2 at 0 right now. So right now, though, Eddie Boy maybe about to get caught out before this dragon. Instead, it looks like they're going to back off and just come into this pit, start it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I don't know. Maybe just go to Baron? They must.
No way they go to Baron. That's dangerous as hell for them right now, because just like I said, Goldfish Gaming have so much CC to engage or disengage. The Seraphine ult into the Gragas cast, plus the event. Like, we've seen it multiple times now. This is a very well thought out draft, and they are using their champions to their max potential, I would say, to get these combos off.
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. I think the reason I default to saying that they should go to Baron is just it feels kind of bad to give up that objective and not trade anything on the other side of the map. But with that being said, it is the 3rd dragon of the game, but only the 2nd for Goldfish. So, all in all, the stats from that one dragon, not really that impactful. It's more like in 10 minutes or whatever when there's potential soul on the table that you're, like, wow, maybe we should have contested that Drake. But, all in all, that's a long time from now. There's a lot of variables, so we don't know if we'll even get to that point. But, again, I mean, this game we do see a substantial gold lead for Goldfish Gaming of about 6K. But if you took that away, like, if I couldn't see that Redacted, I honestly would not necessarily guess that it's that substantial, given how close some of these team fights seem to be turning out.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, but like, I think what makes these team fights, even though they are pretty close, what gives Goldfish the edge or the clutch factor have been honestly the champions that they're all piloting. Matt G with the really nice cast there. We didn't mention it before, but that cast that I believe it was on PKP or Warbox, where he set it up for Dirt. If Matt G had some more AP in his inventory, he would have killed that champion. I don't remember who it was, but he would have killed him. But it did set up a double kill for Dirt though, however. But so regardless, yes, he went built the tank build that I know you did comment on before that you didn't really like it too much. It is still a little bit working out in their favor, and he still has the potential to go hybrid here, which honestly at this point I wouldn't be mad now if he does.
I mean, in a competitive setting where you can, have some counter your jungler more consistently to help out and put some more fear in that Olaf, once you get out of the lane phase, I think that it's very much preferable to have the tank Gragas, but nice disengage there.
Oh, see, and there it is, Dirt 212 with the bullet. It just shreds Rejected the new. Mossy kills BKB, and Goldfish Gaming are just dominating ID Eclipse right now. This game is completely in their favor. They have complete control on the Rift, and they're gonna look for Baron.
Goldfish retreating back towards this Baron. They're going to start it up. There are still 3 members alive for ID Eclipse. They are running towards it now. Eddie Boy wanting to get something done. Wardbox is going to be a long ways away, though, so this is pretty risky. 5 members strong still here for Goldfish, but they are pretty squishy.
I mean, he can disrupt, but he doesn't have smite. Like,
yeah, yeah. Maybe trying to buy a little bit of time. They do have the teleport from Victor.
That was a bad idea, as Goldfish does corral most of ID Eclipse here. Eddie Boy Mao is proc. Primordial Burst does not take him down. Kaiser Uwu has been able to slay Warbox, though. They do stun up another member of ID Eclipse. Oh, the cast knocks out away. Rejected the newest here. Is Goldfish Gaming going to throw their Baron buff here? Dirt gets the ultimate out, but it is canceled, as Zout will shut down the Misfortune. Matt G and Mossy are now chasing the jungler of ID Eclipse here. Keep your eyes on the bottom side of the map. Kaiser corralling BKB, and Zout, this Vigar still has plenty of damage and mana in the tank. Mossy now on the hunt, on the prowl. Matt G flashes forward. BKB is next in his sights. He does not have enough mana, though, to belly bop him, and this Victor will be able to slink away with a sliver of his health. Mossy, though, has to be very careful, as Warbox and Zout are looking for the Goldfish jungler, and he's going to be taken down. Shutdown gold given over to Zout, and Goldfish Gaming probably bit off a bit more than they could chew, but they still have 2 Baron buffs left.
This is just a fight that they don't need to continue with, especially at the point where you're seeing this TP come through from the Victor. That is enough to have that cooldown. I'm not sure if they would be able to pull away at that point, but I just don't think that they should be continuing that chase to begin with. It just, to me, seems like a recipe for losing your Baron buff, which, you know, they end up doing. You know, Kaiser, I will say, stayed really consistent through that entire fight and provided a ton of damage, so that continues to look up for Goldfish, but Big Dragon.
3-1 oh my goodness, that damage from Kaiser here. This is the agency we wanted to see from him, that we know Kaiser can play and be on this Vigar here. He forces Eddie Boy to use his Ragnarok there, and Kaiser Uwu will just be able to back off. And now ID Eclipse are just going to give this Drake once again. What was the point of even thinking of contesting it if you weren't?
Well, the problem is when they were able to get their team into the river to begin with, they are in a position to try to fight and contest, but by the time they're pushed back into their own jungle, you could see there at the end the way that Kaiser laid the event horizon over the only entrance in that area of the river, which, you know, just makes it impossible for them to get in. But now, as ID is sort of, you know, scattered about to try to pick up farm, trading for this dragon, Goldfish has stayed 4 members strong into this top lane and just takes down an inner turret. They're going to keep pushing it here as well.
Yeah, as you should. And this is, I want to point out, actually, I might not even be able to say it because we might have a fight. They did a really good job with the split push here. You keep the tank, Matt G, with the squishies here to ensure that your squishies have some type of protection from the ID Eclipse engage here, while you keep Mossy, that dangerous Nidalee, in the mid lane, shoving up those minions, as now ID Eclipse are looking for a potential engage here. But I don't think that'll come yet, and they will have to keep their eyes on these Nidalee spears, which can come out from anywhere in the jungle, as they're going to clear out those wards. They're going to keep poking down. Rejected anew will use the clone. Kaiser that event horizon has been used, so it's about a 10-second cooldown. I'm not sure how many points he has in it. Shouldn't be too long. Glacial Fisher comes out just to dissuade. Oh, thank you. Just to dissuade Goldfish Gaming from moving forward any. Or Eddie Boy is looking for a flank so bad, but Goldfish will not give it to him, and they're gonna back off. Oh, I just realized Seraphine went, crap, what's the healing item called? The
Moonstone.
Moonstone. There we go. Thank you. Yeah. Rejected anew. Okay. The ID Eclipse, they're looking for this fight so bad, but their mana bars are pretty much, well, at least Wardbox's mana bar is low. Rejected anew is about half health. They really did not want to give that inhibitor, but the answer will be no. The inhibitor turret goes down. Inhibitor should be next. Goldfish Gaming, just hit it. There it is. Okay, thank you. Don't troll me. And they should just back up now here and probably look to take mid lane next. But they're gonna keep harassing and just playing with ID Eclipse here. And there's the rotation. Oh, but Kaiser does find the stun. And that will be off for now, as Goldfish Gaming now look to move toward this mid lane inhibitor turret here.
Yeah, they want to keep on the pressure as much as they can during this Baron buff, just so that they can take full advantage of that. But also, every single member of Goldfish Gaming, other than Matt G, is sitting on over 1,000 gold. That's going to mean a lot of finish items here as you sort of start to, check in on those points here. Looking at Kaiser, kind of the biggest scaling threat in my mind.
Oh yeah, how many stacks does he have? I meant to ask you, by the way.
310 stacks, so he has Eclipse, 10 stacks a minute, which I don't know if that's the standard. I always just think of that as the standard for everything, but it probably isn't. Anyways, I feel like that's probably pretty good. Let us know in the chat if you disagree. Vigar experts out there. But then, yeah, I mean, 3 items completed, including the Rabadon's Death Cap and the Void Staff. On the other side, though, Victor as well, with those 3 items, going to continue to stall out the game.
Mossy will be able to find the leap over the wall. Redakted anew, and Warbox want to take the Goldfish Gaming jungler down. He uses the stasis, but he's within an 1/8 of his health. We'll be able to flash out. The Moonstone keeps him alive. Mossy lives. Now Goldfish Gaming, they have corralled ID Eclipse into the river, or has ID Eclipse corralled them? We will find out here shortly. BKB on the flank will be chased out by the Kaiser stun there. Oriole Murderer using these. The bullet time comes out as well. Warbox able to, but Maggie finds the connect. Warbox Primordial Burst takes him down. Eddie Boy is next. He's corralled, and Matt G, Goldfish Gaming take down 2. ID Eclipse are going to have to retreat, but Goldfish Gaming will look for this inhibitor turret in the mid lane.
Classic Nidalee play, Redacted, playing on a knife's edge. It is the name of the game.
That's different, bro.
Limit testing, but it's not testing, I guess, if you don't die, right? It's just knowing your absolute limit. So it looks like Goldfish, though, is going to be able to end out this game. Yep. Just 4 members still alive, though. Now, it looks like it is going to be over.
Anymore. ID Eclipse completely wiped. And
all right,
Elsa, we are going to a Game 3.
Game 3 is what everybody wanted here coming into this series. This is so important here for the Group D implications for playoffs, for seeding going into these playoffs, which is coming up very, very soon here for CCS. So a huge win for Goldfish Gaming there, coming back in the overall series. But I don't want to say coming back Redacted about that game, because literally from level 1,
from the jump,
Mossy
from level 1
took that game into his hands, and he might have bobbled it a little bit, but he never dropped it. That's the important thing. And so, hey, clutch factor Mossy. I'm not saying Mossy is the only one who affected that game. Absolutely. Of course, right?
He set the tempo for sure.
Out. But yeah, he's the one who sets exactly, Redacted. Like you said, that quick tempo style jungling that we're really not used to seeing in Plat Elo. He is a connoisseur of that, so interesting to see if they will try to go back to the Nidalee again. I would be highly surprised if it was banned, to be completely honest. Maybe it would be, but we'll see if if it's open, and if so, if it's something that they want to go back to, or if it's just like a one-time surprise, level 1 invade path cheese type champ.
My question for ID Eclipse now is I think, what do we do with Wardbox? He was not as effective on the Braum here. Redakted anew, also going 0-8-3. The Wukong did not look like much of a player this game, or the Wukong did not look as efficient this game as it did in Game 1. So what do we think ID Eclipse need to do here going into Game 3 to try and capture this series?
Well, for Wardbox, I think it's pretty simple. I think they picked the Braum because it was so good, particularly against that Goldfish composition. Being able to block all those projectiles. And we did see Wardbox blocking a lot of the MF ultimate, usually not getting it late or up quite as quickly as we would have hoped. But it just didn't really matter because the MF ultimate was honestly just like, kind of icing on the cake. So for Wardbox, I would just say let's go back to the tried and true. They looking more comfortable on the Blitzcrank, something that can set up those dives that frankly failed for them this game. For the jungle with Wukong. I don't think there's anything wrong with the Wukong. I think the Wukong was just a victim of the Nidalee early on in the game, and then also dying in a, possibly not worth invade to try to trade back the red buff. So I think they're just going to want to change up their level 1 warding patterns and be aware they're not going to get cheesed again this time. So I'm not worried about the Wukong. I will say I agree. I think that I think they need to just go back to what's been working at the support position.
Okay. Well, we'll have to find out here. We're going to take a short break as we prepare for Game 3 of Goldfish Gaming against ID Eclipse. Don't go anywhere. The series finale is coming up shortly. We'll be right back.
涙よ星に瞬きを伝えて守るものがあるからきっと強くなれる語るべき言葉なくした星の守り手は時の果て夢の果て闇に立ちすくんだ風を呼んでみたんだ空に向けて誰かを呼んでみたんだ光求めたソリチュードかすかなレゾナンス確かに届くロマンスそんな流れ星たちを抱き留めた明日が見えなくだって乗り越えなくちゃって奇跡の奇跡描き未来へつなぐ Growing High 心のフォトンが銀河にこぼれて道を強く照らす Burning Bright それぞれの思い秘めた星の守り手は空からの呼ぶ声に導 ちゃって奇跡の奇跡描き未来へつなぐ Growing Heart 心のフォトが銀河にあふれて道が開いたら羽ばたいてゆこうよ乗り越えてゆこうよ星空と溶け合っていつまでも行ける Fly High まっすぐ願いを世界に歌って新しい夜も新しい朝もここからまた始めよう My heart shines endlessly 飛び立てShe's such a misfit, always ready to brawl. It's like her business, roughing up your friends. The law, there is no difference. If you believe you're strong, she's a bulldozer, making sure you're flat on the ground. She's like a boomerang that never gives up. She flies in circles till she hits you and you're bowed in the dust. So just remember this: when she's chasing you down, face first, you'll be thrown to the proving ground. She'll knock you out. Have you ever really wanted to be a total rebel, flipping tables on the enemy? Did you ever try to further improve how fast you punch people through the roof? Oh, was there ever any certain time when you thought brute force and style combined? Well, I guess now's time to shine, 'cause finally she's here. Here comes mine. As a matter of fact, the best bet one has is to quickly react to the first attack and save for the bullets. She'll never pull back, just listen. Have you ever really wanted to be a total rebel, flipping tables on the enemy? Did you ever try to further improve how fast you punch people through the roof? Oh, was there ever any certain time when you thought brute force and style combined? Well, I guess now's time to shine, 'cause finally she's here. Here comes
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. As we are here in the Game 3 draft, ID Eclipse, Goldfish Gaming, series finale, winner takes all. And our first ban on the blue side, still not known yet, but they got about 3 seconds, and it will be the songstress Seraphine. Take it off the board for ID Eclipse. Get her out of here. We don't want that super duper combo that Goldfish Gaming used last time. So yeah, no Seraphine for the Goldfish gamers tonight anymore. As they banned the GP once again. Why are they trying to keep GP out of their own top laner's hands? You said Eddie Boy plays it as well, right?
Yeah,
I believe.
it looks like a pretty heavy main from Eddie Boy there. So I think for Matt G, maybe just feeling like the more versatile player out of the two, not feeling like he needs that pick of Gangplank, and in addition to that, really Gangplank is a better counter than a safe blind pick. So Goldfish probably not wanting to, probably wanting to save that last pick for something other than the top lane. So they just want to ban that one out. Especially, Gangplank also just such an influential champion with the cross map pressure that he provides with the ultimate. So, but the Sivir being banned out is a change here from Goldfish Gaming, who did ban, I believe, the same 3 champions in the first 2 drafts. I could be wrong about that. But they do take away the Sivir, which was the first pick choice last time for ID Eclipse. Looks like they switched up the bans a little bit. They banned Jax last game instead of Taric. But so the Taric is going to remain open here for ID Eclipse, who, remember, did lose a couple of bans due to this E-sub. So we'll see, do they want to pick maybe Vanna, which was also left open, which looks like, the most played champion in the jungle for ID, but no, instead it is going to be Victor, which, they picked last game, they lost. This is, I talked actually during the last draft about how ID has felt comfortable picking these mages as the first pick in the draft blind for BKP. He doesn't care what Kaiser has to bring into it. But, I think kind of the problem with some of that for me is that, like we talked about, Redakted, Kaiser does excel when he is able to sit through the lane phase against champions like Victor that don't pressure something like a Vigar, which is still open in this draft. So interesting selection from ID. I will say before I stop talking, because I've been talking way too long, but I will say that BKP has been the MVP of the series for me so far for ID Eclipse, and he looked really strong in game 2, even in a loss.
Absolutely agree. And I think ID Eclipse also feel that way, which is why they've given him the victor once again. Oh, okay. But for Goldfish Gaming, I thought at first, because they drafted the Misfortune there first on R1, that they would pair it up with the Vigar again on R2, because I think that's still a pretty good combo you have there with the corralling of the Event Horizon into the bullet time. But this time, they're giving Kaiser maximum agency and mobility with the Ari pick here, as ID Eclipse hover the Taric and lock it in. So that Cosmic Radiance there for that invulnerability will be coming out for ID Eclipse, which just means now Goldfish Gaming will have to be that more cognizant of how they engage these team fights. And here it is, Mr. 4 himself. Lock it in. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. 10 more seconds. But if they lock in this Jhin here, we haven't really seen Jhin much in the meta. A bit more of a utility AD carry, we would say, with the Deadly Flourish there and the Roots. And then, of course, he still has crazy damage, though, with those shots. So, but, not as much as what's the word I'm looking for? A high tempo agency AD carry as say Misfortune or Zeri,
right,
et cetera.
Yeah, and even though his damage does scale into the late game as far as burst, it's not going to be like something like a Sivir like we saw in game 1, which just autoing through the entirety of the team fight until everybody's dead. So, interesting to see the Amumu locked in here. I would assume it goes to the support position.
Curse of the Sad Bullet
because
time.
2 reasons. I mean, we did see it banned out last game, actually in the second round by ID. But then also Misfortune and Amumu, if you remember back to kind of around the time of like Worlds play-ins in the fall, we were starting when we saw the changes to Amumu leading up to that, giving him the extra stacks on the Q, or the additional stack on the Q, and then also the Misfortune buffs. So, that is a super powerful combo. My problem with that, and I think the reason it wasn't as successful as it maybe could have been, on an international scale, is these are very high impact ultimates, but they are also very high cooldown ultimates. And if you do not coordinate the Curse of the Sad Mummy along with the bullet time very, very well, it just means, you're kind of left with very, very little. And some interesting hovers there, going over the Nidalee, kind of making our hearts stop again for Mossy, also the Talia. But I think, Poppy is a flex pick. We've seen it primarily in the jungle, but that there's some flexibility in that last pick as far as possibly leaving it Mossy.
Exactly. No, I do agree. As ID Eclipse now hovering the Trundle as a response to, these tank champions. Amumu is still somewhat of a tanky champion. I did want to point out or talk about as well, Elsa, that Curse of the Sad Bullet time between Misfortune and Amumu there. Yes, it was also picked a lot, but as much as it was picked, another thing that we also noticed during Worlds last year, it didn't really win a lot.
No, right, exactly.
Yeah.
It was not successful. There's a reason why
Yeah.
there was no patch in between play-ins and the group stage. We'll say that.
Exactly. So hopefully Goldfish Gaming can break that curse and reverse their fortune here, as ID Eclipse will be hovering the Aatrox here. And okay, oh no, all right, that's actually gonna be Olaf. So we'll probably see Eddie Boy on the Olaf once again, which
Yeah.
is a great pick, because both of those picks do actually, in some way or another, counter the Poppy. So
And there
whether
could
that
be
Poppy
some.
goes in the top lane or in the jungle.
Yeah, I was going to say there is flexibility still, again, between the Trundle and the Olaf, and I think that's really smart here, because I would assume that this Trundle, okay, interesting.
Wait.
So so this is going to be Matt
Is that
G's
a Matt G
Akali
Akali?
top lane.
You guys Akali top?
Yeah,
Hold
and
up.
I think if they took the Poppy top, they were just going to send Trundle, and that's a nightmare for Poppy. Just because Trundle, has the subjugate, just going to be able to outscale. In the jungle, the matchup isn't nearly as bad. But Matt G coming in, you mentioned Redakted, transitioning to the top lane from being a mid laner last split with
So they're gonna trust Matt G to carry?
No,
Okay.
while Akali has been seen in the top lane as well, we think of it as a primarily mid lane champion. It did just receive a buff in the last patch to her energy. You get a little bit more energy regeneration in the Shroud now, which makes her trading a little bit more manageable. So with that being said, Akali is a very resource-driven champion. It's a champion that forces you to index a large amount of your stock into, making sure that she can succeed. Because if she can, she is going to be, if she can succeed, if she can get to the point where she's able to assassinate, particularly ex BKB in the fight, in the team fights, that is going to be the ticket for Goldfish. We're really going to be looking at, Matt G to be able to be the assassin, get into the backline and make these plays. And honestly, putting the Poppy in the jungle, I'm a huge fan of that anyways. Poppy is just such a strong jungler right now, because of a lot of it's because of what her ultimate brings, and the versatility of options that her ultimate can bring, knocking away the enemy jungler at objectives, or, even in the middle of team fights, knocking multiple enemy members away, knocking away the Rift Herald even, and denying that charge. So there's just so many different things, even being able to knock champions up for just that split second if you just tap on it. So really, really a lot of CC that comes out of this Poppy. We haven't even talked about, the dash into the wall either. So I could talk for days about how good I think this Poppy is in the jungle, and I think while it doesn't have the damage that something like Nidalee does, it's still going to enable Mossy to have the ganking presence.
Honestly, part of the reason I think they drafted the Poppy, even despite the Tarek being picked, right, is because I think they drafted it mainly for that Keeper's Verdict. So even after, Wardbot uses that Cosmic Ring there, you can still send a couple of champions away with that invulnerability. Once it's down, you're gonna have an uneven number of champions in the team fight. So
right.
They still have to walk back. Goldfish Gaming can then try and wipe out those champions that are left that Mossy knocks away with the Keeper's Verdict, and then just deal with the remaining champions, whoever is knocked away with that Poppy ultimate there. So it does seem a little bit strange, but I think that's a little bit to the method of their madness there.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree, and that makes sense. And I think, too, when you think about this Poppy's ability to control entrances against what will likely be Trundle jungle here, but even if it was Olaf, both of these champions, they don't have the ability to get over walls and, sneak into places. So they just need to walk right through the front door, and Poppy really excels against champions who need to do that because she can stand right that door and defend it. And actually, when you look at the entirety of this team comp from ID Eclipse, that is going to be the case. And going back to this Jhin pick, that really for me must be something about Zalp, again, coming in as an E-sub, so not somebody that the team has necessarily done a lot of practice with, or any. I think that's probably a comfort in the matchup against Misfortune, because if I was Zalp in that last game, I would say, you are not going to put me on blind Ezreal against MF again, because you just end up getting quickly into a situation if you fall behind like he did, where he was pretty much invisible for the entirety of that game, just very, very minimal impact. So the Jhin just a little bit more safety in, well, Ezreal is very safe too, but safety as far as being able to farm in lane for Zalp here, and also getting ward back onto the comfort. So I think that hopefully for Iridescent Dawn Eclipse is going to be a huge difference maker. Will having their bot lane feel a little bit more comfortable and being able to get them through the laning phase. Maybe not unscathed, but let's say at least not as scathed as last game. I think that would at least be a win. So we'll see. We'll see if they can do that.
Yeah, we'll see for sure. And Elsa, this is the last game, so we have to give it to our viewers. I'll go first because I don't mind. I also want to point this out for our viewers because a certain player on Goldfish Gaming pointed this out to me that he has never lost when I've casted his games.
Okay.
So my prediction will be for Goldfish Gaming to win this games, win the series, because Matt G is on his Akali. So we'll see if Matt G can also carry his team to victory and ensure that his win streak with me casting him doesn't get broken. So that's my argument of why I think Goldfish Gaming is going to win. It's kind of selfish, but oh well.
I mean, and I think for me, I mean, I'm actually gonna, we always want a diversity of opinion, but I'm gonna answer the same as you, and I'm pretty much gonna steal your logic as well, which is, not so much about the casting thing, but more, I think Matt G has played really, really well in this series. We saw him coming up really clutch with those Gnar ultimates in the first game and the team fights. Second game, getting through that entire lane phase against Eddie Boy's Olaf without any sort of trouble. So I'm gonna continue to put my trust in the boy genius himself.
Mac and G's
chefing ability he makes up for so far this series in his ability to play League of Legends. But I will say that if the Akali does fall behind and isn't relevant in the top lane, isn't able to threaten all-ins onto the back line of Iridescent Dawn, it becomes a pretty useless pick. So I am going to pick Goldfish officially for sure, and I'm going to say the X factor is Matt G. So don't let me down, buddy, or else I'll insult
we're gonna roast you. We definitely gonna roast you.
Yeah, we never roast him, so it's gonna be a different experience if it happens. So we'll see. I'm excited. I'm pumped up.
I am too, and I hope that our viewers are at home get those predictions in Twitch chat as we prepare for the series finale, Iridescent Dawn Eclipse against Goldfish Gaming. Winner takes all, and more than likely that first seed. We'll be right back. You don't want to miss it.
in dance chase and whispers before they all just fade. So how can I leave it all behind when I refuse to watch it fall to dust? I will find a this porcelain mirage may start to break. Each piece a reminder, every single little mistake. So how can I?
Welcome back, everyone, for the series finale. Goldfish Gaming against Iridescent Dawn Eclipse. And we already have ourselves some early game shenanigans. Oreo Murderer gets the first Bandage Toss. Bandage Toss 2 connects. Rejected Anew will have to retreat and go home. They get the ward in the blue buff there, as Eddie Boy is just throwing axes to poke down these Goldfish gamers, and they're going to make sure their support gets out without any retribution from the Eclipse side. Elsa, what are your thoughts on summoner spells and runes, and whatever point you were about to make? Sorry about that.
Well, no, I mean, I was just going to say again here at level 1, we see Goldfish winning the Vision War in the jungle. Iridescent Dawn not able to invade into either side of the jungle, even after they saw all those members in the top side to try to get something on Mossy's blue. So again, we'll be unaware. But with that being said, definitely Poppy does not going to do that same play, I don't think. Redacted on Poppy as he did on Italy. So they're not quite as afraid maybe of not having that available. Looking at but checking in though on the summoner spells or rune choices, all that fun, awesome, cool, good stuff. For Poppy, we do see the unsealed spellbook. I have seen a good mix, honestly, of summoner spells on her. In competitive, we have seen a lot of the phase rush as well. But you know, as we talked about in the first game, wanting Ornn to take it, Unsealed Spellbook, it doesn't give you anything during the early portion of the game, but Poppy just strong enough to clear through that jungle, and later on, gives her the ability to TP back out, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, and we're definitely seeing all sorts of fun stuff in this bot lane here. As Oreo Murderer and Dirt 2 and 2 are fighting. Yeah. Oreo Murderer gets the bandage toss on Wardbox there. The Ignite First Blood given over to Mossy as they take down the ID Eclipse bot or support here. Honestly, I think Goldfish have noticed a weak point in ID Eclipse's comp team here, and it might be Wardbox.
Well,
is that too early to say?
I think that Wardbox becomes a little bit of a scapegoat in that situation, just because he is the one playing the melee support. He doesn't really have a chance but to be pushed up that early in the game. Oh, Oreo though.
Yeah.
As
Oreo
Flash.
Murderer as ID Eclipse will be looking for retribution here. Flash for the support of Goldfish Gaming. Dirt flashes as well. Truck Pillar slows him down. Double kill for Rejected Anew.
Really big gank here from Rejected Anew, picking up both of the kills on the Trundle, and I think that is okay as the Trundle here. As the one, yes, I think Poppy's probably the better jungle champion as far as just, sort of being good at everything, being really well-rounded. Nice trade here from Kaiser coming in, but I think that in the 1v1, the Trundle is going to win, especially with the Unsealed Spellbook here on the Poppy, not getting any additional sort of stats from that Summoner spell until he is able to switch those over. So, for Rejected Anew, I think that is going to make him feel comfortable taking 2v2s against the Poppy, but also entering into the enemy jungle and ganking like this.
Rejected Anew, the charm does connect. Into the wall, but the as both champions will be taken down. The Ignite given over by Kaiser Uwu will take down Rejected Anew. The charm does connect as well as the Firefox. What is that Victor damage?
I mean, it was a turret shot.
Yeah. Okay, I did not see that part as well. But Oreo Murderer was looking to clean that up, but he will not be able to, as PKP will might just go ahead and retreat. Actually, he's not retreating. He's gonna farm up a bit more as Matt G and Eddie Boy are just dealing with these minions.
Yeah, he's just trying to groom the wave here because he does have the teleport. You can see how he's got it stacked up on the mini map. So Kaiser ends up losing out in quite a bit, actually, of XP, gold, and farm. And, Rejected a new, meanwhile, is going to win this 1v1 against Mossy probably. But
Absolutely.
Kaiser is the only one with mana.
Kaiser flash forward, charm does connect, electrocute proc.
Give it to Matt G.
And Rejected anew will be taking down Kaiser Uwu, given the kill.
Yeah, and it will be Kaiser getting the kill, Matt G not able to get in range. And probably it is deserved by Kaiser as well. But, going back to that mid lane, huge outplay by XBKP. I was really a big fan of his Victor in the second game as well. He was really the thing for me that was keeping them in this game, as Matt G is going to hit that Shuriken dash, but not gonna go for that one. So BKP though does get the huge outplay, big burst of damage there between the turret shot and well as his laser, combining for that last big chunk of damage onto Kaiser, who did opt to step forward into that turret, into turret range after getting the initial pick. So some mistakes here from Kaiser, which is something that, we do tend to sometimes see from him early in the game. Sometimes some disrespect, whether it's in his positioning or in those skirmishes. So overall, though, pretty quiet. It's a 300 gold lead for Iridescent Dawn. I mean, I guess seven kills in 6 minutes is not quiet, but it is quiet for this very moment, and the gold lead is negligible. Well, not negligible, but yes, negligible.
Yeah, I can agree with that statement, as we see Oreo Murderer connecting there with the Bandage Toss, as well as Wordbox connecting with that Dazzle. Both supports definitely getting some stuns or roots down onto their respective opposite here. Currently, IDE are controlling the tempo, I would say, just a bit in this bot lane, as Oreo Murderer's Bandage Toss goes wide once again. We'll get the second charge on Wardbox there. Dirt 2-on-2 putting down quite a bit of damage onto the Taric here, who will have to retreat for the time being. Matt G, once again, shoving in this top lane here. Currently, where is the Wukong? He is in the bot lane river, as along with Mossy. Mossy looking for that heroic charge into the wall. Oreo Murderer's Bandage Toss goes wide, but the root does connect, as Jin does look for the kill onto the support here of Goldfish Gaming. Mossy looking for a kill in retribution. Will be able to take down Wardbox, but he's probably going to give his life over as well, unless it'll be an execute. He's running, though. That presence has not been proc just yet.
Okay, that does do damage, so it does restart the timer. Yep.
What's he going to do here? He
timed it well.
Kaiser is here. Kaiser here gets the charm on BKB, and BKB still gets the kill, though. No. Kaiser Uwu, will he be punished now? We'll have to wait and see. The laser does connect. Kaiser Uwu is able to get out, and looks like that will be all for now, as Trundle looks to take down this Mountain Drake.
I think... No, maybe not. I don't think it's possible to walk through the two turrets without getting hit when both of them are up. His Matt G is going to go very low. Matt G has not gone back to the base yet. 8 minutes in, still holding on to that. Does have the teleport, should he choose to go back to the base at some point. But honestly, pretty impressive, to be able to stick this close to Olaf without having any items. But he does have the gold to buy some. For Akali, I believe in the top lane, you really do just want to get, through those first few early levels. Once he gets that level 6, which Matt G is now level 7, that's when she starts to get more of the power, to threaten executions on the enemy laner. But with that being said, I'm not a huge, I don't have a lot of knowledge redacted of the Akali and Olaf matchup, but I would assume that it's not like an easy win for Akali without some jungle assistance to kind of sway the matchup in her favor.
I don't know either, to be quite honest.
He just has a good amount of healing and durability. Also, he can throw his axes into the shroud without seeing, he doesn't need to target her. He doesn't need to see her to target her with the axes, which is, very valuable because that's a huge part of Olaf's damage. So,
honestly, I feel like I hate saying this for this matchup, but it really is kind of a skill matchup, right?
Yeah,
if Akali can get down a lot of poke, those early combos down, she will kill the Olaf. But I mean, of course, ooh, hold that thought. As the bullet time Deadly Force does connect on Oreo Murderer there, does connect Dirt using the bullet time to save his support. Oreo Murderer will be able to get out as they clear out that control ward there. And here's that combo I was talking about. We see Matt. Oh, Kaiser did come here and take down the support of ID because this is the proactivity and agency we wanted to see from the mid lane of Goldfish Gaming, and he just solo kills the bot lane of ID Eclipse literally by himself. Yes, his bot lane was there to corral them and make sure they had nowhere else to go, but I'm pretty sure those were solo kills. I don't think they got the assist for that.
And I think that it looks like
did
Dirt
get it with the
least,
make it rain there? Make it rain, or flashes forward. The gravity well does keep them in place for a bit. Keeper's Verdict knocks him out. Or your Murderer is dead, but BKB will be taken out as well. Shut down, give it over to Mossy, Eddie Boy, and Matt G in Mortal Kombat. Matt G flashes over the wall. Perfect execution to get him out into safety. And there's that skill matchup we were talking about.
Right, yeah, and Matt G is able to land his flash over the wall to get away.
Matt G might die here.
Yeah, he has the shroud. He does have oh well, no, he's dead. And this is bad with the Rift Herald is going to be spawned after this as well.
Oh, boy.
He's got the Shuriken Dash.
Wait,
can he get the kill? Oh my God, no.
There it is. Yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Well,
why do League players love the first deadly sin of League of Legends, and that is greed? Why do we love it so much, Elsa?
I mean, I think it's difficult there because, you know, he opts into the all-in, and then after that, by the time that he realizes there's a good chance that Trundle is coming onto this side of the map, he can't really feel safe to back off because he thinks that Trundle's just going to flank him, and, you know, so he feels like he has to be in between the turrets. But I agree, generally speaking, obviously, not putting himself in a great spot. Ends up being a huge Rift Herald, though.
Or you're a Murderer. I don't know if that Spanish toss was blind, but it looks like it was. He will connect with Warbuck, who's already at half his health here. Will force out that Cosmic Radiance. Kaiser who flashes forward, but the charm goes wide. Spirit Rush as well does use it as well to burst down BKB here. Matt G and the Orb of Deception will take out the mid laner of ID Eclipse. Goldfish Gaming, still 1k gold behind though, are steadily charging forward.
They are, and it has been largely around Kaiser Uwu, who does miss
5-1-1
there.
Wow.
But yeah, you know, definitely looking, you know, you wanted him to get involved, Redakted, here's involved. You wanted involved, you got it. You know, and did have that one. Did have that one silly death in the mid lane to BKP, who has also had a really good game. I mean, we didn't, you know, I didn't shout out a minute ago when he took a, you know, 1-for-1 in a 1v3. Eddie Boy though, taking a couple turn shots. Still R2 left for Matt G here. His Poppy is coming around. He is going to use R2 just for a little bit of gap close, I think.
Drop the ward for PKB to possibly teleport to, as Matt G and Mossy are now fighting in Olaf, and he will use the ultimate there, knock him up. Matt G gets the kill. Good. You need to give those kills now to Akali.
And that Olaf is so scary in those 1v2 situations. We can see just how, you know, carefully and slowly Matt G is playing that, just waiting for his jungler to
tank up the damage, essentially. His heroic charge flash from Mossy here. Charm or takes down BKB, and now there's more fights in the river here as Oreo Murderer using the Curse of the Sad Moment to lock in ID Eclipse. Jin, though, keep your eyes on this Jin as Kaiser Uwu was doing his best to try and take down the jungler of ID Eclipse. He cannot do so, though, as Dirt212 gets the double kill, taking out the AD and jungler of ID Eclipse. Now they're looking for more. Curtain Call has been activated. No one can tank the damage for Dirt, but Mossy using the heroic charge to dissuade Jin from using any more of those shots and keep his AD carry alive a bit longer. Make it rain. Matt G is here. Bullet time goes out. It goes wide, though. Matt G and Dirt now fighting this Olaf. Eddie Boy is going to run down Misfortune. Yep, there it is. Eddie Boy slays the Misfortune, and he will back off for now. Both of these top laners now will just probably continue farming minions here. No, they're going to keep fighting. I was wrong. Order Mortar's Bandage Toss does go wide, though. ID Eclipse is back for more. Dazzle does connect. Matt G looking to go down. Cosmic Radiance proc. Tower shot denullified. ID Eclipse, get out.
And now they are going to run right towards this dragon, which is up. Is the Cloud Dragon, but I think Goldfish is all going to be able to be here. They are also a little bit healthier, but Rejected and New, who did fall down in that last fight, has arrived back. And in that fight that we just saw in the river, Redacted, you were shouting out how long Zalp was staying alive on this Jhin. Certainly has looked a lot more comfortable on this in game 2, but
Yeah,
I also wanted to point out Rejected and Anu, who did pick up these early kills on Trundle. I heard the Poppy Keeper's Verdict, but didn't end up actually getting used, so it goes on that short cooldown.
Charm does land, Rejected and New, already about halfway of his health. Matt G goes in, gets the Shuriken flip, looking for more. Will not be able to right now. Deadly First connects. Matt G will be taking out Goldfish. Look to just want to run away. Keeper's Verdict being charged up. Mossy knocks away BKB. This is exactly what I was talking about. This is a fight that Goldfish now would like to take. Spirit Rush has been activated. Dirt doing plenty of damage. Oh, actually not. Kaiser Uwu taking down. Dirt and Mossy will just have to retreat. The Star Guardians cannot take down any of their nemesis currently. Wait a second. That's a lot of damage. And yeah, Elsa, we forgot to call out the Star Guardian skins. So I wanted to make sure we let the crowd know. We got 4 Star Guardians on the Rift right now.
Yeah. You know what? Matt G, in symbolic protest after demanding to be traded, doesn't run a Star Guardian skin line champion in the top lane. I don't think that there's Star Guardian Akali. Excuse me. Is there?
Did it troll us? There is. That is Star Guardian Akali. What are you talking about?
Oh, Ivy. I'm wrong. You're totally right. What am I saying? Alright, well, sorry, Riot. Advertising your skins very well. Anyways, no, Amumu is the one who doesn't have it. Anyways, but yeah, cool skins and whatnot here in this one. But I wanted to, I don't think it's stated maybe quite as well as by his score as it should be, but Rejected and New has just been doing so much damage over time in these team fights, or rather I should say sustained damage. You don't usually think of melee champions with sustained damage, but with Trundle, you are going to have that.
Trundle. Trundle and Olaf, I feel like, are exceptions to the stereotype here, right? Or to the stereotype.
Yep. Oh, Matt G should be able to keep himself safe. Oh, they don't want this. Do not.
Nope. Warrior Murderer goes down. Matt G's gonna have to retreat. Flash from Ward Box and the Blast Plant. They keep. Oh, flash from Matt G though. Like he will be able to get out, and Rejected and is just gonna take that red buff as his secondary prize. So Elsa, I was going to ask you this earlier, so now I'll just get it out. Currently, Goldfish are not winning, right? So, what does ID Eclipse want to continue to do to ensure that they take this series, and what does Goldfish want to look for to try and get back into it? You can start with ID Eclipse.
I think for ID Eclipse, continuing to push this Akali out of the game is pretty effective for them at this point in time. Also, just generally sort of looking for picks against this Goldfish composition. Oh, speaking of looking for picks.
Yeah, looking for picks. Heroic Charge, Oriole Murderer. What? Keep your eyes on Zap. Oh, he knocks away the Trundle here, and once again, they are on top of this Jhin. They want to take Jhin down. BKB is here to assist his bot laner, though. Eddie Boy is the first to be taken out. Dirt has already used his ultimate, though. Matt G is next. Warrior Murderer finds the stun. Curtain Call has been proc. Goldfish are now a fish out of water here as these shots are coming out. Warrior Murderer has been taken down, and that's two dead for Goldfish. Pillar does slow down Kaiser Uwu. Hit the Chaos Storm. Rejected and New is on a killing spree. But Zalp here, now an AD carry in no man's land. A bit too ahead of Big Bird's britches. Mozzie gets the shutdown gold from the AD carry. 4, 3, and 7 on this Poppy, and Goldfish are still putting up a fight.
And the problem with for Goldfish when they're fighting against this Iridescent Dawn team is that this Iridescent Dawn has so many tools to remain in the fight, and to win the fight, win really extended, drawn out fights, as long as they don't get bursted out at the beginning. So, he talked about how Iridescent Dawn wants to look for picks, wants to look for smaller skirmishes. They want to fight around situations in which Amumu and MF are not able to get their combo off, to 100 to 0. People like Redakted and New, who is going to have so much healing. On top of that, the Taric ultimate as well. If they can survive through that first burst of damage until the Cosmic Radiance is able to drop, they have the advantage as far as the sustained damage later on in the fights. Ari, not necessarily a full assassin, but once her ultimate is gone, definitely loses a lot of that power. But, Mossy too, with this Keeper's Verdict, can be such a big thing. Though. Yeah, but I would say that maybe a little bit less than like something like a LeBlanc, which is like absolutely dependent on your full combo sort of being up to be able to do anything. Okay. I mean, my point stands that basically she's more on the burst side. But, remember, if this Poppy can get, knock the right member out and it becomes a 4v5, all of this analysis sort of goes up the window.
Mossy, though. Mossy is looking for it. Workground has been proc, Keeper's Verdict, and Mossy's already taken down. Oh, boy. Eddie Boy in the back line trying to take down Dirt, who will flash over the wall. They killed the top laner for the Goldfish Gaming jungler. Rejected in the launch is Shirley here, who more than likely be going to the bot lane as they look to take this Hex Tech Drake, but Goldfish Gaming, they want to fight instead. They connect the bullet time and it completely wipes out the mid laner of ID Eclipse, but Goldfish Gaming, have they bitten off more they can chew? The answer is no. The jungler of ID Eclipse goes down as well. Matt G fighting Zalp here, who is the only remaining member of ID Eclipse alive, who will slink away. Goldfish Gaming get the Hex Tech Drake, but now Zalp will look for the kills in retribution. Not Goldfish Gaming, Dirt was dancing through the curtain call and will be able to go ahead and retreat to live another day.
Yeah, and Matt G flipping into the backline too to just get the last hits, which is in fact what Akali excels at, which is finishing off low health targets. And on top of everything else, I don't know if it was about to time out, it's my first guess, or if it was an accidental drop, but this Rift Herald in the bottom lane doesn't get anything off, not even going to charge on the turret, as I believe the bottom lane turret had already fallen. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but so really just not very much value out of that Rift Herald. On top of that, it will be 2 dragons. Going over to Goldfish, remember how important that soul was for them earlier in this series.
And Elsa, first in game 1, it was Kaiser that we wanted to see more agency on. It's starting to build up a bit slowly, but we need to see a little bit more agency from Matt G because you're piloting this Akali. But he's starting to get there. A little bit.
He is, and I mean, I think at this point, like, as Akali, like, you can accept that you're not gonna ever be able to, solo kill someone in the side lane unless it's, Jhin all by himself, which certainly not be the case. So, he has that TP up in just a little bit. Looks like it pretty much perfectly should be matching with Eddie Boy. Notably, though, BKP also with the TP, so there is an advantage as far as that goes for Iridescent Dawn being able to play a 1-3-1 style like they are right now without having to worry about, getting everybody in the fight.
Boys with AD carries and being caught out of position. As Dirt has been taken down by the combo of Zalp and Warbox here. Rejected New and Wardbox. And that is a very critical pick that you did not want to see. It's quite unfortunate.
Yeah, and I mean, like they went very deep for it, but at the same time, Dirt, I just don't think that you have any reason to, come past the range of that turret at all. Which is, what ultimately ended up being his demise, catching out that immobile misfortune. They knew that her flash was down, and now Baron is going to be the response. Unless Mossy can do something.
Well, we've seen Mossy still eject neutral objectives more than once. As Goldfish Gaming look for the engage, they will find it. One member of ID Eclipse already down. Trundle goes down next. Ooh, with the double kill, Baron is still alive though, because Mossy was taken down, and ID Eclipse will be able to secure the Baron. Matt G is now stuck between a rock and a hard place. Perfect execution out. He will live, but ID Eclipse get the Baron.
1-for-1 in that fight, specifically in the Baron part of it, I guess. But the Baron going over to ID, and just as we talked about before, having that advantage of one additional teleport. Top laners did utilize their teleports that time, so Eddie Boy will not be able to have that one, but they do still have it available on XBKP if they choose to split up the Goldfish Gaming composition, which I think they want to, because at this point, Matt G, as we said, not threatening solo kills in the side lane. If he's not threatening solo kills, what is he sort of doing other than clearing the minions?
Just a melee
so I
minion
think
right now.
isolating him away from the team in a situation where he's not able to make himself very useful is pretty much the name of the game right now for ID. I mean, if I'm not that much of an Akali aficionado, maybe there's a world in which he has enough damage at 2 items to kill Victor, but what with the shield that Victor's able to get from his Q, I just really do not see this Akali succeeding in the side lane. So you can see
Victor already has the hat.
Yeah. I mean, XBKP is just huge on this Victor. Needs to be the priority target for Goldfish, but it's so tough too with Rejected and New. We talked about the amount of DPS that he can bring out too, and look at the items from the Trundle opting for the Blade of the Rune King. So just really, really indexing hard into that strategy. And here's Eddie Boy just sort of daring Matt G, saying, yo, you're 2 levels down, your Q barely even tickles me, and reduced wave clear against the, against the Baron as well. So Goldfish really just wanting that one to run out.
Rush Charm does go wide though, as the Chaos Storm came out to dissuade the Ahri from engaging any further. Both mid laners are going to back off temporarily, but BKP will continue to siege down this top lane in turret here, as we now see Matt G once again dealing with this Olaf, and Goldfish Gaming's map is just getting smaller and smaller as ID Eclipse are looking to encroach further on their territory.
Yeah, and I mean, look at Mossy doesn't know.
Mossy, subjugate activated. Keeper's verdict. Oh, he interrupts with the pillar here, Mossy. You might have just not necessarily thrown the game, but you've definitely given over the Hex Tech trick. You cannot do that, my friend. That is illegal. ID Eclipse have given you a citation, and they get this Hex Tech trick.
I believe that's the second time this game, I think we saw it in the Baron Pit as well, that Mossy has the Keeper's Verdict, interrupted by Trundle, Rejected New, just very nice placement of the pillar to make sure that, he gets that little bump knock up, otherwise it would not interrupt. But, I think for Mossy, it happens the first time, you just need to have discipline on Poppy, and remember, you need to hold that cooldown until after Trundle has, used the pillar, which can be difficult in the moment, but now with that dragon picked up, second dragon of the game for ID, we're tied at 2-2, so not looking at a soul for either team really close, but an additional inner turret picked up for ID, who have now picked up everything outside of the base for Goldfish Gaming.
Yeah, and I need to see what is Mossy doing?
Using that.
I need to see Matt G. Well, I don't know why Matt G is currently in the jungle. He needs to be in the top lane getting gold, because at this point now this is getting a bit desperate for Goldfish. They need this Akali to be strong. As Kaiser Uwu will Spirit Rush away from Eddie Boy here, Matt G for sure can flips around, stuck between a rock and a hard gravity well. Matt G taken down. Goldfish Gaming are in a bit of a tizzy right now. This is looking like somewhat of a collapse in communication. I need them to figure out quickly how they remedy the situation before ID Eclipse take the game. As the pillar comes out, Kaiser Uwu will have to flash because his Spirit Rush is already on cooldown, and Kaiser will go down. Actually, Keeper's Verdict to keep him alive a bit longer. Mossy saves his mid laner, but Goldfish, your tank is drying up quickly.
Yeah, it is, and Goldfish is the team that couldn't afford to fall this far behind. In this game, now sitting, about 8k gold behind, and for their team composition, we've harped on it again and again, but it's all about that upfront burst, provided by the Akali, provided by the Ahri, and then also, you don't think of it as burst necessarily, but by those 2 abilities from the bot lane. And Dirt 212, I feel like kind of this series, I don't think Dirt has been the reason for Goldfish Gaming necessarily winning and losing, but you'll notice that in the game that they won, Dirt got resources early on, was
Yeah.
able to successfully use the bullet times. You know, they won. Game 1, struggled to get things early, but
Oh,
here's a pick. Okay.
Why do they flash when they
That's-
know they're going to die?
40 seconds on Baron, so Victor will be up in just 44. Don't know if that's enough time for them to threaten starting it. Mossy is going to be stuck here, though, in the base to defend against Eddie Boy. I don't think Matt G can
Oreo
even defend
Murderer,
it.
though.
Okay.
Curse of the Sad Mummy. Oreo Murderer using the stasis there to keep himself alive a bit longer. They will get the tier
They
1
finally
turret
got a
and the
turret.
objective bounty gold. Mossy, though, he cannot dissuade Eddie
he
Boy
doesn't
from
do
taking his
any
inhibitor turret. We'll get the heroic charge into the turret, though. Now gonna use the
Nice.
keep to knock him away to keep the turret alive a bit longer. And the rest of Goldfish Gaming are here to support their jungler.
Hey, so at the end of the day, the base remains unbroken for Goldfish, and Wardbox going to get knocked
Mossy,
into the
what are
wall,
you doing?
possibly.
Mossy. Oh, heroic charge into the corner of the wall there. Wardbox will have to a deadly flourish to keep Mossy in place.
Yeah, and I mean, the objective bounty on the other side, like, sure, it is the only turn. It is just, it's the only Goldfish has gotten so far in this game. But remember, with those objective bounties on, it is worth that increased amount of gold, which is really big. And I think just before that, too, they did pick up a couple of bounties on
Turns
it.
call. Matt G will be. Oh wait! Oh,
This is perfect.
he was trolling me, but they find the kill. Double kill for Dirt with the bullet time. Matt G Shuriken flip combo, and that will be Baron given over to Goldfish Gaming. But ID Eclipse still have their Olaf, still have their Trundle, and they still have their Jin. Oh, but the charm
Okay.
connects. Eddie Boy will have to use the Ragnarok. He's in the middle of all of them. Deadly Flourish coming out from Zaup does not connect. Stasis for Eddie Boy, and Oreo Murderer locks them
Got
in
him.
place. Jungler and top lane are down. Zaup looks to be next. Goldfish Gaming will get the ace, but they will not get the Baron.
It looks like they're very conflicted, maybe wanting to go back onto this Baron here. 4 seconds left on Wardbox. 13 seconds left on BKP, who does have teleport available. Could try to go for something in the base, or could try to come contest this. We'll see when he comes up. They have sent Matt G back just to clear out the wave. Same with Oreo Murderer as well. It looks like, even though we got excited...
And, they get an objective
yeah.
bounty Baron too. Let's go. Nice. That's exactly the gold infusion they need to get back into this game. Goldfish Gaming
all of a
still
sudden-
down 2k gold though, Elsa.
Yeah, but it was, think of how much it was before. Wasn't it like almost 8? It was like 8K before.
Honestly,
Now
there's
it's
so
down
much
to
going on.
2.3.
I don't even think we got to check.
No, when I said it before, it was when I said it at the one point that I did check in. I don't know if this was the height of it, but it was 8K at least. Lead. So, I mean, cut it. You know, yes, it is still a lead, but cutting it to 2.3K, like, you're not going to complain. And
Kaiser, ooh, Spirit Rush away. Pillar has been used. Deadly Flourish just to harass them. Goldfish Gaming get the Hextech trait number 2. They are now on Soul Point.
And you know, we can't you know, looking for the next play here already as Eddie Boy is, you know, waiting to defend this turret, but we can't talk about that last fight from Goldfish without talking about that setup from over the wall, multiple members sitting over there, Dirt remaining, and you know, shooting the bullet time on from over. But we had just talked about how
that
impactful
damage.
Dirt is.
Yeah,
look at
really.
those, look at those Baron minions, and it just goes to show, you know, when you can get the MF involved in the damage going on, they can win these fights still.
Ooh, Charm does connect. Yeah, and I don't think we. Oh, hold that thought though. As the Dazzle does connect, Mossy is already within an eighth of his help. Keeper's verdict sends Rejected anew back to his base. Curtain Call barely poking out Kaiser. Ooh, here. I thought Jin had more damage than that. As he is playing between a rock and a hard place, this Ari, reminder, he does not have his ultimate. Oh, he does have his ultimate. I was trolling. Matt Shuriken flips into the back line there, and he will be able to slay Warbox as Eddie Boy is now trying to take down Dirt. He will be able to proc the GA, though, of Dirt 212 here, but the AD carry still lives for Goldfish Gaming. Matt G able to take out the support of ID Eclipse as his life was given over as well. There's still 3 Baron buffs left for Goldfish.
3-3, but how much can they make
Darn,
happen?
can
But
they?
look at Mossy. He has swapped over to the teleport with his summoner spellbook. He will be the first one to spawn out of everyone here, and it looks like Goldfish wants to stick around. Maybe he'll TP onto the minion once they get it under the turret, but it looks like maybe he'll just go top lane to try to defend because they've got a big wave there.
Yeah, but I don't know if
here comes
Goldfish
Trundle,
Gaming
though. He's going to
stick
TP.
around this. Oh, okay, Mossy's TP or Murder gets the connect. And it goes down. Mossy is here.
Oh,
Mossy looking for the heroic charge on the out here. Does not connect as it was not within range of the
Turret?
The gravity well is keeping Goldfish Gaming away. Dirt 212 connects the bullet time, taking out the mid laner of ID Eclipse. Top laner has just respawned, but Dirt 212 and the rest of Goldfish Gaming, he will be able to take down Ward Box. This game is insane, and the Goldfish Gamers are alive, but Eddie Boy on the prowl.
Got the angle.
Viking is hunting. He's looking for his prey. Will he be able to find it? The answer is dab.
Yeah, they made it. Oh. Wow. Feels bad. Wait, it's like the thing that doesn't feel that bad when you're playing the game, but then when you watch the replay, you're like, like
yeah.
But, you know, no
He's
vision.
gonna look at this body and be like, damn it.
Yeah, and a smart choice of position there from Dirt and Oreo Murder to get back to the base, just because if you run, you know, it's kind of, I feel like it's easy as MF in that situation to want to run all the way back just because you are so fast with the W and your passive, but with the angle that Olaf had there, you're never going to make it back unless you complete the full recall. But, you know, taking stock of the game again, it is now a 600 gold lead for Iridescent Dawn, so truly negligible. You know, this isn't a game in which Redakted, for those of you who were here since the beginning, Iridescent Dawn at one point had an 8k gold lead at least, was just looking very, very commanding, but...
Oh, Matt G caught between a rock and a hard plate. Golly! That was exploded.
It could be a lot worse. There's still a minute and 15 on the dragon.
It could be a lot. Okay, never mind. Maybe we're fine. We're fine, right?
Yeah, it
He's
looks like
looking,
Eddie Boy's on the wrong side of the map, but the question is, look at Iridescent Dawn. They're paying lane. Goldfish, they don't want to overchase this. They are going to be back. The question is, will they be back soon enough? Because this wave is already almost at the turret. It doesn't look like they are.
Dirk can definitely use his ult to play out the minions.
Yeah. So they are going to get the turret. Nothing more. Mossy flank, though.
Mossy does have a flank, but Eddie Boy also has a flank on Mossy. Mossy needs to be very careful with his life here, because if Mossy goes down, that is going to be Drake advantage for the side of ID Eclipse.
Yeah, and it's soul for Goldfish, potentially.
Yeah. Oh no, Oreo Murder caught between the pillar here. Will not be able to use his ultimate just yet. The Chaos Storm comes out. Dirt nullified with the Cosmic Radiance. And now Oreo Murderer almost taken down. He will be able to stun Eddie Boy, who is instead slain by Kaiser Uwu and gang. Wordbox running away. BKP
Victor.
also on the retreat. Matt G is looking. He's probably trying to connect. Shuriken flip as well. They've taken down the Victor. Rejected it. Goes.
Is that it?
Goldfish.
They don't have a wave.
Have aced ID Eclipse. They have a wave mid lane. Will that be the game? We'll have to wait and see. But right now they're gonna work on this tier 2 turret.
27 seconds still on this Jin. 23 seconds now is the first one to come up. They need... It's just so awkward because, yeah, they have one more minion. Okay, they need to tank up these turrets and make sure that this minion doesn't die.
I'm pretty sure Matt or Kaiser's gonna tank it.
Oh, they have more minions now. They have more minions now.
Okay,
Fine.
Oreo Murder is here. They'll make this support tank it too. Yeah.
8 seconds on Eddie Boy.
Goldfish is looking for it. Goldfish is taking down both turrets. Goldfish is gonna take the Nexus. Goldfish is gonna win the series.
I cannot believe that. I mean, we've watched Goldfish come back.
Didn't I just tell you? Matt G said he's never lost when I've casted him, and he stuck true to his word. I'm still gonna have some words for him because he wasn't that good on that Akali, but at least he kept his word though. So good job. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's true. Matt G definitely turning it on the second half of the game, probably once he realized that, he couldn't lose on stream when you were casting. I would assume that that's the reason. So So, anyways, but wow, I mean, honestly, I'm just incredibly surprised. I think that, I mean, a couple of things. First of all, huge performance from Goldfish Gaming, showing the mental steel that we've known them to have, coming back in this game. I mean, not only in this game, but also, showing creativity in the second game as well, even keeping the game super, super close. So, huge shout out to Goldfish. Different players, but they still win the series in the Goldfish way, which is that if it's close, you better make it really close, and you better make it look like you're right about to lose, before you end up winning it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna bring in Matt G, right?
We will find out here shortly. We're gonna take a short break as we prepare for you, though. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Behind when I refuse to watch it fall to dust. Tell me why it won't ever be the same. I'll burn it all, no matter who's to blame. I'll find a way. I'll find a way. And every time I close my eyes, a little less of you remains. I know you're slipping further from me now. Am I too far away?
Welcome back, everyone, as we are here with our interview with the entire top side of the Rift. That is Mossy, Matt G, and Kaiser Uwu here for our interview. Gentlemen, how do you feel about this win against ID Eclipse? Anyone can go first, to be quite honest with you.
I feel great. I'll go first. I feel great.
Thank you, Kaiser.
Yeah. Game one, definitely a little tragic. It was a little bit doomed on the Talia. I will not lie. Talia ulted into crank hooks. I didn't even know that was.
It
Yeah,
happens. It
yeah, it happens. We just pretend we do not see it.
Yes.
But the other two games were good, right? So they made up for the fact.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that, Kaiser. If you go back and watch the VOD, I will say that you did not look as comfortable as your jungler does look on Talia. My question for you is: do you play that champion often, or is it just more so? Why was it not given to Mossy, and why did you guys want the Pantheon jungle angle so bad? I'll ask that
Played
question.
it. I mean, Kaiser's played it in scrims.
Yeah, it was just kind
Kaiser
of
usually
like
looks fine on it.
I was gonna say. Usually, like I picked it up like for the flex, and usually I look pretty good on it. I was just kind of like in my own head a little bit. Not gonna lie, I was just kind of like thinking way too hard, and like I just wasn't playing like how we normally play. It was just kind of one of those games where it's like you have a game plan, and just for some reason, like it's just super hard to like stick to the game plan, and it definitely showed because it was not a very good Talia game.
Absolutely, yeah, no, that's fine. Like I said, I don't keep track of all y'all's op GGs or nothing, so I don't know what you all play. So yeah, but no, that's definitely a very fair point, and it did show. You're right, but you guys bounced back for sure. Elsa, you can go ahead and take the next question.
Well, I mean, I guess getting into the second game, I mean, we don't want to go too long here. I know everyone wants to go to bed, but getting to the second game, I do have to just ask Mossy really, really quick. Obviously, you picked Nidalee. You went for the really, really creative level 1 pathing. Was that inspired by any particular jungle, like that sort of path in particular? Since obviously that was, I mean, it seemed obvious, at least to me, that the level 1 was a big part of what you were trying to do.
So I don't know. I kind of just like I was kind of just balling that game. If you actually look at my OPGG, I haven't played a single game of Nidalee and Soul Key this season. I'm pretty sure. So I just felt like it just felt like the angle that game, and
right.
I think Matt like was leashing me or something, or like he was gonna leash me, and then I think he got like really concerned because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go take this guy's red. and I mean, luckily it worked out, I guess. But I was just totally focused and locked in that game, and I don't think I'll ever be able to repeat it because well, I mean, I had a funny death in mid lane, but like that's to be expected when you're playing aggressive. But uh, it kind of took me like this series took me back to the Horizon series. Well, both
I
of
was
them
thinking
that we
that
played
low
last.
key.
It was just like we needed something to change the tempo because I knew that game one was like such a long loss for us.
Right.
And so I just like kind of felt like playing like a psychopath and making things happen. And luckily it worked out for us.
Mossy with your best Canyon impression, man. I have to say, you know what? You pulled it off well. My next question will actually go to, you're very new and shiny top laner, Mr. Matthew G over there. Matthew, you played I would say you played weak side a bit for the first 2 games. You played, let me go ahead and get my draft back up again. It was the
He played Gnar the first
there we go.
game, and then
Gnar
Gragas,
and then Gragas. And how did you feel about playing weak side for those 2 matches? Is that something that you typically play, or?
I mean,
And
I'm fine with it completely.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I picked Gnar, and then they response with Ornn. So the guy kind of was just saying that, he's accepting that he is the worst player and will decide that he wants to be on a tank into a bad matchup. I feel like I did well into him. Some unfortunate things happened. They scaled really well. It happens. But I feel like game one, after that series, I knew it was like, well, I think we all knew that this series was very winnable. I didn't think they were that crazy as a team. So.
Well, I will have to say, this is not to take away from your win. Absolutely not at all. But Bubster, unfortunately, did have an internet crash, so you did not face the starting ADC for ID Eclipse. I know that did that change how you guys approached the game a little bit, or was it still the same?
Not really.
The prep was more or less the same. I mean, to be clear, game 1 draft, we were under the impression that we were playing like their starting roster plus a random sub. We didn't really know. I think we were very generous to them, and I'm sure that their captain would tell you, like, we were very nice about, like, okay, like, we don't want to enforce ban losses. Like, I was doing everything I could to help them out, because obviously I knew that they were in a tough spot, but I don't think that it really makes sense to put an asterisk on the win.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Because I think that ADC and their starting ADC play very similar champions, very similar pool. Obviously, you're losing some synergy, but for the most part, I guess I'm looking forward to playing them again. But we'll just take the win and we'll move on. And if we have to play them again or something, it'll be what it'll be.
Yeah, it was definitely more so for the hype because, there's been plenty of trash talk leading up to this match. And then now one of the main instigators didn't get to play. So it's like, damn. The main instigator didn't get to play. So it's like, damn, he didn't get to play. So it was quite unfortunate. But
sounds cowardly to me. No, JK, much less.
My last question, and then I'll give it off to Elsa if he wants to ask any more. Matt G, you did it. You made me proud. You made it back to the interview desk once again.
Oh,
you didn't break the curse. Was that on your mind though in game 3? Because like you guys were kind of losing at first, and you were like, "Fuck, I have to make sure we win, so that way I don't break Redakted's casting streak on me."
Exactly. I mean, I couldn't lose this series. I think it's kind of impossible. Whenever Redakted is casting, I haven't lost, so that streak will keep going. I don't know what it is. I think it's just good luck. So, yeah.
All right, I want to let you all go, but people want to know. Last question, Matt G. What's your comments on the trade rumors?
I hope that happens. I swear to God, I'm sick and tired of these bozos.
Shut up, man.
You're being traded. You're okay with being traded for cash considerations?
Honestly, yeah.
Anything that can get him out. All right, get us out of here. Let him go to bed. Oh, Redakted is
someone's
gone.
Cutting out there.
Oh,
or is it me?
Yeah, it's you. All right. All right. Well, I'm going to end us in case Redakted's not all the way connected. I don't know
I'm
if
back.
he is or
I'm
not.
back.
All right,
I'm back.
All right. End us
I'm
out.
back. Yeah. All right. Yeah. But thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We really hope you enjoyed the game. It was very entertaining. Thank you. Or good job, Goldfish. Not thank you. Good job, Goldfish, for winning the series and once again showing you know, most of the Plat League that you guys are still contenders to not be trifled with. And kudos to y'all for the win. You got 2 more weeks before playoffs get to cracking here, so I hope you guys are getting prepped for that. I'm sure you have some very spicy compositions that you will roll out in the playoffs. But until then, we will see you all next time, same place tomorrow for our Diamond League. Get ready for that. In the meantime, though, be safe, stay dangerous, and be good to each other. Have a